All right, I should be live. I should be live right now. Give me a second to see if I'm live. Hey. All right, so I'm going to give you guys a minute to jump in. I'm not going to be on here very long tonight. I wanted to talk to you. I know this thing that registers who told you were ugly. That's old. Thank you. All right, I wanted to tell you guys the news. I got a couple of things I want to share with y'all, and I may even stay on just to answer a couple of questions, but I don't want to do everything before tomorrow night. I'm going to give you guys the time to come in. Thank you. All right, let me see if I can pull it up on my phone. I'm excited. Oh, no, you know what? I don't even want to pull it up on my phone. I don't want to pull up on. Okay, I got some news to share with you guys. All right. Give me a second. And while I'm getting this up, thank y'all. Thank you. While I'm getting this up, I'll be letting everybody load in. All right, I got it up. All right. Couple of things I want to share with you, and then I'll open up the floor for a couple of questions. Couple of things I want to share with you. So I want to start off with the most exciting part of the news for me anyway. If you guys don't know, I am a member of Embassy International here in Atlanta. That's my church home. Thank you. That's my church home. I've been a member there for almost 3 years now, and it has been a real journey, a really great journey. I've learned a lot. I've died a lot. I've had a lot of great experiences, and I wouldn't change it for the world. It has been an amazing journey. And so with that being said, I got an opportunity unlike any other to teach on a subject that is really, really dear to my heart. You have probably not seen me get a chance to speak on it a whole lot on here. I speak to my mentees a lot about it, but I don't talk a whole lot about it on here, because first and foremost, a lot of people who follow me, some of them are babes. Some people, but I realize that's the error because you guys need to hear it. So I'm going to be doing a teaching within the next couple of days on a subject called, I wish I had my writing stuff ready. Honor. I believe honor is the foundation of everything that we've asked God for. I do believe that. I'm not saying that. I believe honor is the foundation. Oh, awesome. Thank you. All right, so for those of you who want to give for my birthday, I'm going to put the CashApp up right now. I'll put up CashApp, and thank you. I'll put up CashApp, and thank you. I look 32, hallelujah. I'll put up CashApp and PayPal. So there's CashApp. Thank you guys for the gifts in advance, seriously. All right. Let's see. I'm always trying to make sure I remember that link correctly. All right, so there are the links for those of you who want to sow a seed. For those of you who want to sow a seed, thank you in advance. So let me get back to the news. I'm super excited about this. All right, I'm really passionate about the topic of honor. Honor is the foundation for everything that we've asked God for when it comes to children, blessings, houses, cars, husbands. Honor is the very foundation of all of those things. Because if you want a husband, but yet you can't honor him, you can't submit to him, God has to. Cash button, how do you do that? Yeah, I don't know about a cash button. I got to check that out. But honor is the very foundation of, thank you for all the birthday wishes, guys. Honor is the very foundation. So it's something I talk a lot to my students about. I'm always dealing on the topic of honor. I'm always talking to them about honor. I'm always talking to them about honoring their leaders, and what have you. And I kind of felt like at one point I was really overdoing it. I felt like, I was just really overdoing it with him. I was just like, honor. And so with that being said, I kind of pulled off from it a little bit, but it got tangled up in every message that I taught. I would always throw the honor thing in there because I dealt with students who came in who didn't understand honor, people who demonstrated a bit of dishonor, and I thought, they demonstrated a lot of dishonor, and I thought to myself, you're asking God for a husband, and you're showing me already what you're going to do to him. You're already showing out what you're going to do to him. You're going to dishonor him. You're going to quit the relationship as soon as things are not going your way. And so, again, I'm really passionate about the topic of honor. So let me stop belaboring the point. Let me stop playing because I know I'm going around. Yeah. So I got a unique opportunity, a real, true, amazing opportunity to co-author a book with my apostle Brian Meadows. We co-authored a book called Honor Intelligence. Let me see if I can see this on the screen. I'm trying to. This right here was a birthday gift like no other. This was a birthday gift like no other. This is an ebook. It is available. It is available on Amazon.com. Trying to get it to clear up. It's available on Amazon.com. It is entitled Honor Intelligence. It's over 100 pages, and there's even an honor test at the back of the book. There's even an honor intelligence test to see how well you know honor, how good you are at honor. I think, and I know, I'm not lying when I say this, because I know people say stuff to sell books, but when I write something, I'm really passionate about it. And I truly believe every believer needs that book. I truly believe every believer needs that book. If there's anything you're asking God for, God always tests your honor. Can you honor? Like, for example, for those of you who say, God called me to be a prophet, do you honor other prophets? You give to a prophet, or whatever you give to a prophet, you're going to reap off of that prophet. The Bible says you give to a prophet, you reap a prophet's reward. The Bible also says that you shall reap what you sow. So a lot of people don't really understand that concept. Oh, thank you guys. I see the cash apps coming in. But a lot of people don't understand that concept, that you truly do reap what you sow. And so a lot of times people are called to ministry, but they don't necessarily understand. Let me make sure that I give you, thank you, Sister Gee. Thank you, Sister Gee. But I want to make sure that I give you guys the right information. I want to make sure that I tell you guys when it comes to honor how important that is to me. So I got a little bit distracted, but I want to tell you guys what honor is to me. So I got that opportunity, very unique opportunity, to co-author a book with my apostle, and I've been truly blessed by it. I still don't know how to act right now. It hasn't settled in right now. So I do want you guys to go to Amazon right now. Go to Amazon right now, or you can go to his website, brianmeadows.com. and you can purchase a copy of the ebook. There's an honor intelligence test. For those of you who take it, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to take the test at the back of the book, and I want you to post your score, your true score, not a score that you conjured up because you felt like I would have answered it this way, but I answered it that way instead. But I was wrong, so I'm still gonna give myself the points because I feel like no. I want you to test yourself, and I want you to give your honest grade. Thank you. I want you to post up your honest grade in the comment section, and I'm going to do something special for everybody who purchases the ebook and posts their test scores. I'm going to do something special for everybody who does that. So make sure you're getting that. That's the first news I wanted to give you. I'm going to come back to that before we end because I'm really excited about that. Second set of news that I have is for my birthday tomorrow night. I'm going to be doing a virtual slumber party. A virtual slumber party. What is that? A virtual slumber party is basically me doing a question and answer segment. So I'm going to be coming on the conference line and answering your calls. You guys to be able to call into the conference line, ask whatever questions. There's probably going to be a time where there's not going to be mute on the phone, I don't think. So we're going to just open up. You ask the question, I answer it. You ask the question. And one of the things I love about these virtual slumber parties is that there's so many women that are encouraging one another. So it always turns out to be a beautiful moment. It always turns out to be memorable, for real. Well, anytime I've had a get together like that, it has always turned out to be very memorable. It has always turned out that way. So I want you guys to make sure that you come out. You have to register. Let me get the comment. Let me get the link for that. You have to register for it. Let me see. You have to register because I've learned when it comes to YouTube, I've stopped doing stuff. Let me see where that link is, because I can go a faster way right here. All right. Right here. Here's the link. But I learned to stop doing stuff and just posting it up. Because when I was doing a lot of deliverance calls and posting up the link, I would always have people who had witchcraft on them or people who were just flat out witches to show up on the line and try to disrupt the call. They would intentionally try to disrupt the call, making a lot of noise and doing crazy stuff on the line. So I've learned. So I'm going to post a link here for those of you who want to register. Make sure you're registered for that. I'm always excited about that. So that'll be just awesome to hear you guys' voices and stuff. It's going to be at 10 p.m. tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you're coming on the line. You can invite a friend. I don't mind if the friend has registered or not, but do me a favor. If you're going to invite a friend, make sure it's somebody that's sane. Make sure it's somebody that's not going to come on the line and going do. Make sure it's not somebody who's doing that. I want to make sure we have a healthy line of people. If anybody's unhealthy, that they're there because they want to get healthy. And I'm going to be answering a lot of questions. It goes without saying I cannot let the saints wear me out tomorrow. That means that I can't just come up on the line and answer 5,000 questions. So guys, come with your questions ready. Don't just be trying to conjure up questions when you come on the line. So with that being said, I am going to open up the floor for a few questions. Trying to see where I am. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, guys, for the princess. Amen. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I truly appreciate for everyone who does give. Hey, thank you so much. Alright, so I'm going to open up the floor for any questions that you guys may have. It does not have to be related to what I've talked about. I'm going to do a couple of questions. Just a few, guys. Only because I do need to get up pretty early tomorrow. I am going to have to take my dog to the vet. I'm not excited about that. I'm going to spend a portion of my birthday in a vet's office. Not excited about that part, because he's licking away at his butt, and I looked and he's swollen back there, which means that he's having some type of issue. I looked it up online, and it's definitely a vet visit type thing. So keep me lifted, because he doesn't have an appointment, which means I will be at the vet for quite some time. First is going to be trying to get him in, and then second is going to be, yeah, it's not a fun thing. Not excited about that, but nonetheless, I'd rather him get well. So I'm going to open up the floor for questions. Thank you. I'm going to open up the floor for questions, and definitely. Okay, hey Tiffany, do you have any videos dealing with depression or purpose? I don't think I have anything dealing with depression, but I want to give you a definition of depression. A couple of definitions that God gave me some time ago. Okay, I want to give you a couple of definitions that God gave me in regards to depression some time ago. One definition he gave me was depression is oftentimes just the result of a starving spirit man. Depression is oftentimes the result of a starving spirit man. That means a spirit man that's not being fed the word. Your spirit man is hungry for the word. Your spirit man is always saying, I want the word, I want the word. And sometimes we get so caught up in life. Now, we'll go to church or what have you, but we're not spending time in worship. We're not spending time meditating on the word, studying the word. We're not spending time. So we're always just running through life. And I'm going to tell you, from me, myself, I felt depression try to sit on me many times. I think on an average week, All of us has had to deal with some measure of depression trying to sit on our laps, and I'm having to push it off all the time. And I have to have my worship time. I have to have my prayer time. I have to have my praise time, because if I didn't, this thing will swallow me up. Just like this whole thing with my dog not feeling so well. For me, it's just like I had so many plans. Like, this would be the first birthday in years that I've actually done something. I was planning to go out. My friends were like, hey, we're going to do something. I was planning to go out, but I can't bear the thought of, okay, he's scooting around the house not feeling good, or what have you. So, long story short, I'm going to spend tomorrow, a great deal of tomorrow in the vet's office, not to mention a lot of other things that the enemy is throwing my way. And so I have to have that prayer time, that worship time, because it reminds me that God is still good and God is in control. If I don't remember that, if I lose sight of that, then I think that I'm in control, and then I freak out because I'm like, oh my God, OMG, I have to do that. So a lot of times, and I'm going to give you another definition as well, but it's a starving spirit man. When the spirit man does not have access to God like he should, when we're not studying the word, we're not spending time in worship, we're not meditating on the word, then we can suffer or deal with depression. Another reason that causes us to deal with depression is oftentimes the company we keep. So it's like your diet. Is whatever you put in your body is going to determine the shape of your body. If you are sitting back and your soul has a shape, everybody's soul. I've been doing a soul management course. Thank you. I've been doing a soul management course. Let's see here. Thank you, Sister Tammy. Awesome. Yeah, I gotta make sure I thank you guys personally. Thank you. If when it comes to depression, I've been doing a soul management course. That's where I'm at. Thank you, Sister Danielle. Awesome. Thank you. But I'm doing a soul management course. And in the soul management course, I explain the shape of the soul. The soul is like this. So it's not a real definite shape, but it's just an example. But in depression, a lot of times there is a void. That means the soul has been wounded or what have you. And a lot of times what we do is we try to fill that wound with people. We try to use people as bandages, and we end up getting more broken people in our lives, and we end up surrounding ourselves with people who don't love us, people who don't understand love. And so we keep feeling the effects of that. God has a proven system that many of us don't abide by, and it's like we're too afraid to do things God's way, because our way has worked to some extent. Our way will get us from point A to point B, but it doesn't necessarily get us to the place that we know we're called to get. So a lot of times we spend our time just trying to make it. This is the whole definition of make it. We spend a lot of time just trying to make it. So depression is oftentimes a result of the shape of our soul. So the shape of your soul is determined by where you're trying to fit in at. See, because the soul is like fluid. It's basically like where you're trying to fit in at. So if it fits into my hand, I can ball it up. But if I'm trying to fit it into another space, if it was fluid, it would take the shape of that. So that's what the soul does. Every time you try to fit into a friendship, your soul takes the shape of that friendship. Every time you try to fit into a relationship, your soul takes the shape of that relationship. Now, if it's perversion, if you're trying to fit into people's expectation and their expectation is coming from their voids, then you take the shape of their void, but you can't fill that void. So they're going to deplete you, and you constantly will deal with depression. So there are different, and of course there are chemical imbalances. There's a demonic spirit of depression. It'll come in. It's a spirit of heaviness that comes in. It'll weigh you down or what have you. But depression is oftentimes a result of some type of lack. So I would tell you to go to your pastor and just try to set up, at your church, some type of counseling session, so that you can talk about it. Because when you begin to talk, you start to take the stuff that's on your soul, the stuff that's weighing you down, and this is what you're doing. You're reaching in, you're pulling it out, and you're sitting in front of you. You're saying, this is depressing me, that's depressing me, this is depressing me, that's depressing me, this is bothering me. And a lot of times it's not those things. Those things are just the things that they're just added issues, but sometimes it's something much deeper than that. But when you keep pulling stuff up, then you find out, for example, it can be father issues. It could be relationship issues. It could be something else. It could be the way you feel about yourself. It could be the music that you're listening to. Because people don't realize that music and television, those things make a great impact on our self-worth. And so if I don't measure up and I'm hanging around people that I don't feel like I measure up to, and I'm listening to music that tells me I don't measure up, then I'm going to start to feel some type of way about myself. And when I feel, and get this, when I start feeling low self-esteem, then I'm internally telling myself, you're not pretty enough, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough. And then I start dealing with depression. So there are different factors. And so, yeah, hopefully that helped. For those of you that, you feel like you're dealing with depression or something like that, book me for a conference call. I would love to talk to you. Typically, when we're dealing with depression and things like that, I have 30-minute segments, but I always go for an hour. You can go to tiffanybuckner.com to book me for a conference, for a one-on-one conference call. But normally, I always say go for an hour, because sometimes people will book me for 30 minutes, but we spend the first 20 or something minutes trying to go through. I like to go through your past. Like, I want to go through what you've gone through in your past. I want to go through your family issues. I'm not the type of counselor to say what's going on today. I don't want to deal with the surface. I want to get to the root of it, because I believe when we can identify what's going on at the root, or the tail end of it, we can really deal with the issue. All right. Okay, and as far as purpose, I would say follow my leader, Apostle Brian Meadows. He does a lot of teaching on purpose. And you get a better understanding of that. Let's go on. Let me see. Thank you. You say happy birthday, Tiffany, once again. The more I grow in Christ, the less interested I'm in marriage. However, I have a great desire to help people reach their potential, and I love kids. What do you think? I think that you're maturing. That's the definition of maturity. When you start focusing more on your purpose than you do on relationships, you are officially maturing. One of the signs of a mature woman is that she wants marriage, but it's like, it's not she's not desperate for it. She's not looking at her friends anymore. Immaturity is signified by, or characterized by, you're looking at your friends. How is she getting a relationship? And she fornicating. I'm over here trying to do things right. And, when you see a guy, hey, okay, he didn't smile back. All right. I wonder if he likes me. I think he likes me. I had a dream. And so it's an over obsession with marriage or what have you. But when you begin to mature, it's like, when God brings the man of God, he brings the man of God. But in the meantime, in between time, I got things to do. Because these are things that I'm not just going to do in between the relationship. These are things I'm going to continue to do even when I do get married. As a matter of fact, a lot of women are setting themselves up because they're not doing anything. And so what happens is they end up getting married, or they try to get married, and they're not doing anything. And when you're not doing anything but going to work and coming home, you become needy. You become too demanding. Meaning you have no hobby, nothing that you love to do. And so that man is like, when he comes home, let's just say you work and he work, but your job isn't in what you necessarily want to do. And so you come home, you just twirling your thumbs. He should be home in an hour. It's 5:30. He get off at 6:30. He should be home by 7. When you go up in the refrigerator to find something to cook for him. And then you spend too much time, like, when he comes home, dude's like, I really want to relax. I really want to chill. But he doesn't get the opportunity to do that because, yeah. Alright. But he doesn't get the opportunity to do that because, and I hate to use this term, but a lot of women are like, it reminds me of Milo when I get home. A lot of women are like that. When I get home, Milo is jumping up on me. He's like, there's no concept of personal space. He's a dog. But he's just excited to see me. Listen, I could be gone 15 minutes, and when I get home, dude's going to jump up on me like he ain't seen me in 3 years. I could be going out the door 2 minutes. And when I walk in, but because he sits around when I'm not at home, he just walks around. And how do I know that? Because I had a camera in here at one point that it was in this living room part, and he walks around, he keeps going to the door, looking out the door. He'll go upstairs, get in the bed, come back out the bed. He keeps watching for me. And that's what happens to a lot of women. So I'm really proud of you. And it just means you're maturing. You're maturing. My mom only calls me when she wants something. I believe she's jealous of me too. How should I deal with this? I'm heartbroken. One, the first thing is trying to find the right way. You said my mom only calls me when she wants something. I believe she's jealous of me too. So believing that she's jealous doesn't necessarily mean that she's jealous. So you want to first and foremost trace that. Now, she could be or she could not be. Let me tell you, in every relationship, there is going to be some issues. There are going to be problems, especially with your parents and any person in any form of authority. You may experience something. And so one of the things that I used to do with my mom, and I do with everybody in my life, is I never draw a conclusion unless I have all the facts to substantiate that conclusion. I never draw a conclusion, meaning I don't go off a feeling. So let's just say, for example, because this is what I hate, and this is not for you, but I hate to see people do this. When they say, oh, everybody hating, they're my haters, and people not necessarily hating, it's another issue. And if you don't identify the issue, then you stay offended. So the goal is always to get unoffended and to reconcile, if at any means possible, or if at all possible, to reconcile. And so when it comes to a parent, one of the first things you want to do is you want to see, is it truly jealousy? Now, jealousy has characteristics. Every demonic spirit, or any fruit of the flesh as well, has characteristics. It has its own personality. Jealousy is characterized by a person always being negative and condescending. Every time something good comes in your life, they try to downplay it. They're always trying to destroy every good thing that you have. It's just like they're not happy unless you're miserable. If you call them up and you're miserable, they're there, they're listening, they're really intent, but then you notice that they kind of perk up while you're sad. Those are characteristics of jealousy. And if you see that, one of the things you want to do is pray. And then the thing about it is, you have to have a conversation with her about that. And one thing about a jealous person, they're not just jealous of you, they're just jealous. I think a lot of people lose sight of that because we like to say my haters, but in reality, if you're dealing with a jealous person, they're just jealous. That means that they have a tendency to be jealous of other people. It's not just you, they're jealous of other people. And I say that because I think the body of Christ, a lot of people are suffering from that, where they feel like, well, it's jealousy. If I don't understand what you feel, it's jealousy. And I've seen women who will just be mean, women who will just sit up there, won't speak to you, what have you. And then when you go back and start responding the same way, they say, oh, these people are jealous of me. And I'm not saying that's the case with you, because I know that's your mom. But what I would tell you is that in this particular case with her, have a conversation. If you see negative behavior, I believe in slice and dice where it stands. Like, if you see a negative behavior, like for example, if I'm talking to somebody on the phone and they start being negative, thank you, but they start being negative right there, and I realized in that moment, like, she's always being negative. I'm gonna stop her right there. I'm gonna say, hold up, stop, listen. If it was my mom, I would say, Mom, I love you, you know that, right? But one of the issues I have is that you're always being negative, and that's one of the things that ends today. I don't talk like you gotta stop this and we can't keep doing it. I don't talk like that. I say this has to end, meaning I'm putting an expiration date on things. I don't just tolerate stuff. I put an expiration date. If I'm talking to a friend and a friend gets disrespectful, I said, this is the last time. Don't do that no more. I love you, sis, but at the end of the day, I've never disrespected you, and I will never disrespect you, and I'm not going to let you disrespect me. That is a boundary in my life, and you cannot cross it. I'm drawing a line of demarcation. I'm saying don't do that. And when I say don't do that, I'm not saying I'm trying to control the person. I'm not saying if you do that again. No, what I'm really essentially saying is I'm giving you this one opportunity, this warning. After this, I'm going to distance myself from you, even from a parent. If it's just constant negativity, then I'm going to put some distance between me and that person. Doesn't mean I'll cut them 100% out of my life. It just means that, there's going to be some distance. Their phone's going to be silent. I'm going to talk to them whenever I can. I'm not going to be in a rush to call them. When they call me, I'm probably not going to answer every single call. It's not to punish them. It's because I need to keep my peace. It's because I have joy going on, and I really need to hold on to that. And so in a case like that, you want to have a conversation with her, and you say, this ends today. You know, because I think that's a problem with us, is a lot of times we speak to situations, we try to tell people, please stop, don't do that no more. I tell people, this ends today. This right here, I'm bringing this right here, this ends today. So yeah, I don't know why people are instant messaging me. I mean, yeah, some of them I understand that, I know, but I tell people, this ends today. This ends absolutely today. So you want to go ahead and draw a line of demarcation, and then you want to let her know what you consider to be disrespectful. Don't call and talk down on me. Don't do this, and what have you. And if need be, then you take distance. You know, that means I talk to you every once in a while, and as soon as we start going into negative zone, I'm getting off the phone. You know, just like I was telling your sister this, and you know, like you don't call me, I'd be like, Mom, I'll call you back. See, there you go again, and I'm gonna keep doing this. Every time you call me with some negativity, what am I doing? Is I'm teaching them how to be respectful, because they don't necessarily know it. So some people don't know how to respect their children. They don't know how to respect. So I draw a line of demarcation, and I say, well, you may not know it, but I'm gonna give you the rules in regards to our relationship. Just like you can give me the rules as well. You can say, hey, I don't like this and I don't like that. And as far as her calling when she only needs something, that tells me you might be giving it to her. Don't give it to her. I end that with people, like when people do that with me, I end it with a no. I always stop people from doing that by just saying, no, I can't, no, I won't. You know, I just end that with a no. So I've had that issue as well. But I end it with a no. I always say no. I just keep saying no. I just keep saying no. And that usually stops them from calling. And then two, what was you said something I wanted to tackle. Oh, you said you were heartbroken. This is what I did. Okay. When it comes to parents, I'm not going to say, I'll just say, this is what I did when I dealt with parental disappointment. I'll just say it, my natural dad, you know, that was one of the issues I had with him, especially when I was living in Florida. I wouldn't hear from him for a long time, and the only time he would call me was if he wanted something. And I dealt with the heartbreak, I dealt with the disappointment, and what have you, and it was really putting a weight up on me. And this is the way I cope with things like that. I decide to stop expecting, pull the expectation out. Because as long as you're expecting the Cosby family, the Brady bunch, you will always deal with disappointment. I've learned to love people as they are rather than just thinking about their potential. You know, I stopped falling in love with people's potential and learned to just love them as they are. And so I took the disappointment out of it because, like, I just told myself, okay, if Dad's calling you, he probably wants something. And when I answer the phone, I'm like, hey, I'll talk to him, what have you. And then if he goes into this, baby, daddy need this, what have you, I just say no. You know, well, no, I can't do it. Got to do this. I can't do it, or what have you. And that's the way I dealt with it. I took the disappointment out. So whenever he called me and he didn't want nothing, it was a pleasant surprise. So I was no longer disappointed, nor was I angry with him. So when we call, we have some really good conversations now. We really talk. I don't hear from him a whole lot, but then when I do hear from him, we have some really good conversations. Why? Because I've taken the disappointment out. So I got another sibling was really upset and was talking about, you know, I don't hear from Dad, what have you. And I told him, I said, take the disappointment out of it. Don't expect to hear from him, you know. And that's the way I deal with it. I say you don't expect it, and you see, you like, he call him back. Hey, you call? What have you? Take that expectation out of it. A lot of times people when it comes to their parents, they deal with a bunch of disappointment because they keep on expecting the parent to change, and people don't change unless they want to change. And so you'll spend the rest of your life dealing with hurt and disappointment, waiting on a parent to change who's not trying to change. So you love them as they are. You just sit back and say, that's where she is. So if she's calling, like if she's calling, I know she wants something, I'm not gonna play into the manipulation, like the manipulative, hey, what you doing? I had this going, and then they go to talking, and then at the end of the call, okay. So anyway, before we go, baby daddy, I go straight in, hey, I'm good. Oh. So I'm not talking very much, and that way we can go ahead and get straight to the point. Now, what I'm doing is I'm taking this long conversation. I take all that out. No, I'm just gonna be oh. Now if he says I was just calling you, but let me get off the phone, then I'm like, oh, okay. Then I can engage, because then I know, okay, you calling me because you really want to talk to me. But other than that, take the disappointment out. And that's for every last one of you who may be dealing with some measure of parental disappointment. Stop expecting them to be anything different. Just pray for them as they are, and learn to love them where they are, and understand that something got them there. Some kind of disappointment in their own lives, and commit within yourselves to not be that type of person when it comes to your children. Commit within yourselves to be a better parent than your children, and God will give you that. He'll give you some healing. But when if a parent is just constantly only wanting something, or any person only calls you when they want something, just say no. Just keep saying no. I promise you, if you keep saying no, usually around the third, fourth, or fifth time, some people a little bit more stubborn, they'll stop calling. They'll leave you alone. And then, they'll call when they want something else. But if you give in and or if you're making excuses, I can't cause I ain't got it, then they're going to keep calling because you had an excuse last time. Eventually you're going to run out of excuses. Sometimes the best thing just to say is no. Nope. Not going to be able to do it. Nope. And then they'll go ahead and they'll pull away. Hopefully that helps us. Happy birthday. Advice on dealing with a new guy with passive cheating. He's aware of his wrongs and is open to help. I suggested men from his church. I see how the enemy has perverted his gift of charm. You see his potential, but you can't ignore his condition. Now, if he has a past of cheating, how far in the past has that been? Has he gone through deliverance? Is he accountable to anybody? And I'm not just saying going to church. I'm talking about like serving in church. Is he accountable with those type of things? If not, then that demon is still squatting. And it's going to manifest itself again because spirits okay, so let me help you to understand something about that. When you're dealing with a cheating guy, a lot of times he realizes the error of his ways. He realizes he's lost some really good women in the relationship, and he doesn't want to do that again. He sees your potential. He sees that you will be a great woman. He says within his head, I want to be faithful to her. I want to be faithful to her. So he opens up. He says, hey, listen, I want to be faithful to you. I've had some issues in the past. I was dumb. I shouldn't have done that, or what have you. But then when you get in a relationship with him, that same old spirit starts to manifest itself, and it says, hey, you need to go out here and do your thing. She's neglecting you. She's doing this. She's doing that. And they fall right back into the same trap. Why? Because demons only like things that are illegal. As long as he can't have you, then, there's no issue. But as soon as you get into a relationship, then that's when that spirit of adultery begins to manifest itself. So you want to pray, fast, don't get in a soul tie. Definitely don't have sex outside of marriage. The Bible says, submit yourself to God and resist the devil, and he will flee from you. If you stay put and you stay listening to God, God will reveal if this is a yay or a nay relationship. We all have a past. We've all made mistakes. But if the person has not gone through any measure of deliverance and don't think they need deliverance, then they are deceived. That's the evidence of the fact that they need deliverance. And chances are he's going to cheat again. It's not that he plans to. Most of the time, it's not a plan. It's just an opportunity. And when you get into a relationship like a marriage and stuff like that, that's when the adulteresses begin to come out, and they are carrying a spirit of witchcraft, a spirit of seduction that is really strong. There are some of them that have spirits on them that are more out, that rank higher than the other ones. They have a strong spirit of seduction, and you got to really be submitted, Holy Spirit filled. You got to have your head covered. That means you got to be submitted to your authority in order for him to pass that test, because those women are conniving. They are very seductive, and they're the best actresses. They outdo any woman in Hollywood. They can shed tears at the drop of a hat. They are really skilled at what they do. They are skilled marksmen. They are skilled assassins. And as a man begins to elevate, those women when we talk about the shape of the soul, they will fit in into whatever. Oh, you like football? They'll fit in, and they'll learn the people that play football name. They'll learn the game, and they'll be sitting up there. Those are the type of women who, with one guy, they were real prissy, wearing pink short skirts and what have you. Another guy, they got a beer, sitting up drinking beer. Come on now, he fumbled that ball. Yo, come on. They can fit into everything, and they are very, very, very skilled. And that's the reason why you don't want to be with somebody who is not, if he can't handle the base level, like if he can't handle the demons down here, if you call to rank, you call to grow up, them sisters will have that demon would devour him. Now, that isn't to say just because that's his past, it is to say that's for any relationship. You want to test the spirit of the person. You want to see where they are. And so, find out if he's submitted at his church. If he's just going to church and coming home, that's an issue. Because chances are he's probably not faithful in that. If he's just, and he could be using church to get women. Not to say that's the case, but there are some men who go to church just to get women. So you want to just take your time. Don't tell yourself he's the one. Don't convince yourself he's the one. Just tell yourself, I'm praying about this one. And take your time, ask the right questions. Definitely don't lock lips with him. Don't have sex with him. If you're not giving in and you're not making an idol out of him, if he's still dealing with that narcissistic personality, if he's still dealing with that spirit, he'll manifest. If you don't submit to the enemy, he has no choice but to manifest. Writing class, where do submitted your work to be checked? I called before class, and after again I called in. Where do you hear repeat writings and other programs in Prep University? If you are signed up to the class, you should have be receiving emails. And you can submit your homework via the email. I've had people submitting their homework via the email. As far as Marriage Prep University or Life Prep University, which one? If you're talking about Marriage Prep University, I literally just finished teaching a class. I'm going to send out the replay video shortly. So you should have it coming to your email. If you're not getting emails, then you need to email me. If you're registered, make sure you're registered. But I think you are. But make sure you send me an email with your email address that you register with, so that I can look it up and I can see to make sure that you are getting the emails. Also, check your spam folder. That's important to me, because a lot of people will email me and it'd be sitting right there in their spam folder. And we'll be going back and forth and it'd be right there in their spam folder. So make sure you're checking your spam folder as well. A man ghosted me after physical intimacy. I told him I was waiting till marriage, so he knew it would never go further. I felt so hurt and not good enough. I never got closure. Why do people do this? Okay. The issue that you're doing, you're focusing, you're doing something that a lot of women do, which is a mistake. You want a relationship and you were willing to sin to get that relationship. And now you're focusing on what he did wrong as opposed to what you did wrong. This isn't about what he did wrong. This is about, okay, you got to get to that place of intimacy with God where you don't feel like you need to be intimate with a man until marriage. So you haven't gone into that inner court. You haven't gone into the holies of holies deep enough yet to where your flesh perishes in his sight and your spirit man rises up. So that is not about what he did wrong. There are a lot of men out there, if you give it up, they're going to walk away. One reason that men walk away from women after they've had sex with them is because some of them, quite frankly, if you don't love yourself enough to wait, then they don't feel like you're worthy of being loved. You're having a conversation every time you get in a relationship with a person. You're telling them your worth. If you show I'm willing to give it up to you, then you're telling him I don't think so highly of myself, or I'm not this. And so a lot of times people will come in and take advantage of that. So don't get caught up in, why do people do this type of stuff? I sinned against God to please him, and then he turned around and walked away. Don't get caught up in that part. And it's not that you're not good enough. It's just that you don't know how well, or you don't know your worth. And that's the reason that you put yourself in that situation. You don't know your worth. So the thing about this is I teach this thing called track back. Always track back the issues to yourself. Otherwise you'll keep blaming people, because if you don't track this back to you, then what you'll do is get in another relationship, and then you'll go and have sex with him, and then if he turns around and walks out, you're going to feel like this guy did the same thing. And slowly but surely the enemy will have his will in your life. The enemy will start to twist you up and say these men ain't no good, or what have you. He'll just keep using you to break yourself, to self-sabotage. So you just have to hold on to the confession. I'm waiting till marriage. But I tell people this, if you feel the need to have sex outside of marriage, chances are you're not ready for marriage, because that's indicative of there being a void in your soul, and you want to get that void filled, because if not, you're going to keep using people as bandages. So you want to get that void filled. That means you want to go to church, submit at your church. You want to read your Bible every single day. You need to do that even when it gets filled, to keep it full. You want to be accountable with your feelings. Surround yourself with a multitude of counselors. Be accountable with your relationships. You want to do those type of things to ensure that you don't find yourself back in that situation again. So it's not that you're not good enough. That's what the enemy wants you to feel. That's what happens. If I go out here, even me, as a woman or guy, if I go out here and sleep with somebody, he walks out of my life, it's going to make me feel some type of way. I feel, I'm not good enough, because the devil wants me to believe that about myself, and he wanted me to open that door so he can tell me that. So once I open that door, he said, you're not good enough. You're not skinny enough. You're not light enough. You're not dark enough. You're not this enough. You're not that enough. It's always, you're not enough. You're not enough. You're not enough. Here's the news flash. I am enough for the right man in the right season. See, I may not be enough for him right now, but I am enough for him in the right season. If I'm not enough for him right now, then my glass is half full, and in my single season, God is utilizing that to pour into me. So I have my multitude of counselors, I got my YouTube video, I got different things God will use to build my self-worth and to build my knowledge of him. God will utilize all of those things to fill me up, so that when I do meet the man of God, I'm more than enough. I am overflow in his life. But if I don't know that, then I will mix myself up with the wrong people who are going to empty me out all the more, and they're going to create an even bigger void in my life, and then I'm not going to feel like I'm enough, because I'm looking at that little sip of me that's left. I'm not going to feel like I'm good enough. I'm not going to feel like I'm smart enough. I'm not going to feel like I'm pretty enough, and the enemy will have his way in my life. And when I have that void, it's going to make me jump into another relationship, because now I want somebody to really tell me that I'm enough. So you can see how this cycle continues to repeat itself. So don't think about him. You sit back and say, Lord, help me to forgive him in Jesus' name. I repent because I sinned against you. I did to you what I'm accusing him of doing to me. I turned my back on you, even though I still acknowledged you, because he's probably somewhere acknowledging you, but I turned my back on you. I sat back and I did what I knew was wrong, because I wanted something. In that moment, I wanted it more than I wanted you. So, Lord, I ask that you help me. Father, I ask that you give me wisdom, knowledge, and instruction. Surround me with the right people, and then utilize wisdom from this point on, because you're going to get tested with that again. You're going to get tested with that again. Meaning some guy's going to come along, and he's going to want to be along with you. So, no, you can't come in my house, bro. I'm not coming to your house. No, why are you trying to lock lips with me? No, we can save all that. I want him to run. See, if he runs and I've never had sex with him, it doesn't hurt, because I have no investment in this dude. Of course, unless we spend a lot of time. But most people, when you don't have sex with them, they won't stick around. They'll test you. They'll stay around for a little while just to see if you're real with that. But when they see that no matter what, you won't even give me an opportunity. James 4:7 says, submit yourself to God and resist the devil, and he will flee from you. And I've learned that the people who have the devil in them will flee from you as well. So you want to make sure that you submit to a whole new level of holiness, and then take your eyes off of the people who walked away. Because that opens you up for the spirit of rejection. For the spirit of rejection opens you up for the spirit of pride and rebellion. So you find yourself going right back through the same old cycles with different people, never taking accountability, always looking at your intentions and not your actions. Always saying, I would have been good to him. My intention was for us to get married and we would have made it right with God. And you will constantly keep doing that and falling into the same traps. So hopefully that helps us. Thank you. Thank you. How do I deal with my mother always being mean and hostile towards me? She gets angry very easily over the smallest things, blames me. Draw a line of demarcation. This is something that I think is really important when it comes to parental relationships. Draw a line of demarcation. That means that when it comes to a parent, you have to be able to say, and you have to be okay with saying, it's not okay for you to talk to me like that. It's not okay for you to be disrespectful. It's not okay if you don't draw that line of demarcation. Then what ends up happening is the parent feels like it is okay. I've been doing it for a long time. You have to draw that line. You say this ends today. This stops today. So from this point on, you're not gonna blame me. You're not gonna talk negative to me. I love you, but I gotta protect my emotional health. I gotta stay sane in this world, because there's a lot of crazy stuff happening out here. I can't be distracted by your issues. And so she's not gonna believe you. No parent does, because they known you your whole life. And she gonna test that. She gonna test the bounds of that. As soon as she tests, okay, Mom, I gotta go. I will talk to you whenever I feel like it. But at this stage right now, I'm not doing it. And every time, y'all hear me, this is like disciplining a child. Every time she does something negative or she distance yourself. And when I say distance, I mean if you're in the house, if you're at her house, get up and leave. If you're on the phone, get off the phone. Put some distance there. Let her go through her little thing. Let her manifest all over the stuff. And just keep, and then make sure you reinforce that. I'm not going to talk. So she'll be like, I ain't heard from you in a month. I'm not going to call you if you're going to be condescending toward me. I love you. You can say what you want towards me, but I've already forgiven myself in advance. I've done the best that I can, but I'm not going to become your punching bag. It's okay to draw a line of demarcation with your parents. Trust me, it works. I did that with my mom, God rest her soul, but I did that with my mom. I drew a line of demarcation. No, this isn't okay. This right here, I love you, but we ain't doing this right here. We're not doing this right here. And parents, a lot of times they can feel like, oh, you're being disrespectful. No, what you're doing in that moment is saying, I'm loving you enough. I don't want to have a bad relationship with you. I want to have a good, healthy relationship with you. And in order for me to have that, if I allow you to just have your way with me, you're gonna keep on breaking me and upsetting me. And I can't do that. So I'm going to draw a perimeter around myself called a boundary. And I'm going to tell you not to cross that boundary. And every time you cross that boundary, then I'm going to put some distance. I'm going to make sure I let you know I've already spoke to you about this or what have you. And then I will make suggestions as well. Mom, you need to go to counseling. Mom, you need to go through this and you need to go through that. I ain't got to go through crap. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to do it. I can't make you do that. But what I can say, y'all forgive me. I got to take my dog to the vet on tomorrow, and I am not the most excited about. Yeah, I said that word. I said the word V word, vet. But yeah, you want to make sure you draw some boundaries. You want to make sure that you put some boundaries in place. It's not just putting boundaries in place, it's also enforcing those boundaries. Because I teach this to a lot of people, and they actually do put boundaries in place, but where they make the mistake is they don't enforce them. And so people start learning. It's kind of like a child. When you tell a child, go to bed or I'm gonna whoop you. Child goes in the room, comes right back out. Did I tell you to go to bed? I'll whoop you. The only thing you're doing is teaching that child to not respect authority. The only thing you're doing is teaching that child that mommy lies. Mommy just tries to threaten me, but she doesn't mean what she say. So I've learned the best part of parenting is, or the best way to parent is to enforce or to draw a line of demarcation. If they check that line, give a warning in regards to that line and then enforce it from there. So if I say go to bed, and this is what I did with my stepson. I said go to bed. He went in his room. He came back out. Tim, give me a hug. I said, okay, grab that belt on the way. He was like, I said, grab that belt. I told you to go to bed. So what am I doing? I'm enforcing a boundary. I've already told you, go to bed. I'm enforcing that boundary. Then he came back up in the room. Tim, I said, okay, that's fine. Grab that belt. Now, I'm consistently doing it until he finally got to the point where when he understood when I said go to bed, I meant go to bed. I've done that with people in my life. I love people. I love every person in my life. But if you got a toxic person in your life, you got to understand, you got to have boundaries. Even if that toxic person is your parent, you have to have boundaries. And you have to enforce those boundaries. Trying to see where my pup master went. But you have to enforce those boundaries. All right. But you have to enforce those boundaries. If you're not enforcing it, then they start taking on the mentality that a child has. Well, you keep saying that you're going to do something, but you never do it. So a lot of times when we see these type of relationships between the mother and the daughter, father and daughter, father and the son, is because the child doesn't have boundaries, or they're not consistently enforcing their boundaries. When you consistently enforce something, you're telling the person that this isn't just a threat. This isn't just an emotional response. This is literally a law in my life. This is a law. And when it becomes a law, they know that at the end of it, there is going to be she is going to respond this way. It's not I hope she don't respond this way. There is going to be that type of response. So you don't have to tolerate being mishandled or what have you. You don't have to tolerate being mistreated. You have one nice conversation with her. You say, hey mom, I've been thinking. Our relationship hasn't always been the best, and I really want our relationship to grow. I want us to have a healthy relationship, but I don't know if that's possible. I pray that it is. And so what I'm asking you is, from this point on, I'm going on a mission to protect my emotional health. I'm going on a mission to make sure that I'm emotionally healthy, that I keep my sanity. And so for that reason, I'm not going to be tolerating any more negativity from anybody. That's including you. So the only thing I'm asking of you, I'm not asking much. All I'm asking is that you learn to control your anger in regards to me. If I disappoint you, internalize it and do whatever you got to do. But you talk to her about it and you say, from this point on, I'm not tolerating it. Then you enforce that boundary. So if I'm at her house and she starts acting up, I'm gonna politely get up. I'll say, see you later, and I'm gone. I ain't coming back for a minute. I'm not coming back for a minute. Why? Because I want her to learn, because she's learning it's not okay. Because every time I come back, if I leave and I come back tomorrow, I'm telling her that it is okay. This is what I'm doing. Every time I come sit there, I'm telling her that it is okay. No, if I draw a line of demarcation, if I sit up there and I take my distance and I go and I'm like, I'm going to stay in my house, and I'm just going to stay away, not to punish her. Get that? Because, you don't want to turn into that. But for my own emotional health, I'm going to just keep my distance and what have you for a minute and just let her get through. What I'm doing is I'm telling her, and I'm telling myself that it's not okay. I'm telling myself that I deserve better. Because if you have an abusive relationship with your mother, chances are you're going to have an abusive relationship with other people. So I'm telling her that it's not okay, and I will enforce it. I won't come back. I won't call for about a month. Not to say I'm going to say, okay, I ain't calling for a month. I'm talking about, I'm going to let my feelings go down. I'm going to be praying about it. I'm not going to call until I feel it. Until I feel like, okay, I really want to talk to her, just see if she's okay. I miss her, what have you. Then I'll call. Or if she call, and so you ain't going to come around here. I've already made this clear to you. If you're going to call and be negative, we ain't going to talk. I don't care if your mother says, well, don't call me then. That's fine. That right there, that's a standoff between you or light and what's on the inside. If it's a demonic spirit there, that's a standoff. Demons like to do this with people. This is what they do to people. They'll hold that person over your head. They'll hold that person's love over your head. You spend the rest of your life trying to jump and get it. You spend the rest of your life trying to get affirmation. You spend the rest of your life trying to prove. No, stop doing that. This is what I do. You hold it over my head, keep it. Keep it. I'm going to pray it down. I'm going to pray for my parents. I'm going to pray for their deliverance. But I'm not going to kill myself trying to get a relationship that's probably not going to happen. Because a lot of people, they don't end up having that relationship, and they always have that expectation for the rest of their lives. They have that expectation, and they end up dealing with some chronic disappointment, especially when the time comes for the parents to go and be with the Lord. A lot of times people deal with that disappointment because they never got over it. They never stopped expecting that. They kept expecting mom's going to change, dad's going to change. And that's why I always say pull the expectation out. Pull the expectation out, but you draw the line of demarcation. You just say, you just say no. Jezebel spirit, if it is a Jezebel spirit, it doesn't like the word no. You got to take your authority back from it. Jezebel's feed on Ahab's authority. So what that means is they know how to control you. It doesn't always have to be dominant control. Sometimes it's, if you do that, I guess I'll just, sit here until the Lord takes me home. When he takes me home, it's just, and then you end up feeling bad. That's seduction. You can't fall for that. You got to be like, you can stop doing that, because at the end of the day, I love you, but whenever the Lord take you home, he take you home. That's all. But if you give in to it and you just like, man, here, and then you're like, oh, she always doing that. Then you're going to constantly keep going through it, because they know how to manipulate you. They know how to control you. Definitely. But if she has that Jezebel spirit, one of the things you want to do is make sure that you pray down that spirit in your life. Pray down Ahab. Now, it's not to say that you may have it, because if it was something that she picked up later in life, then chances are, but you want to pray down to Ahab in your life, and you got to refuse to be an Ahab. That means you refuse to be controlled. When you refuse to be controlled, you don't mind saying no and dealing with the repercussions of it. If somebody's being negative and mean and they're texting me and calling, they go on a voicemail. I'm sorry, I'm not going to even read the text. I'm not going to be in a bad mood. And people like that, people who have Jezebels can, and I hate to use this term for lack of a better term, but you can manage people who have Jezebel spirits. You can manage people who have Jezebel spirits. It's just by drawing a line of demarcation and saying no and enforcing those boundaries. If you do that consistently, they learn to manage their demon. Because they are separate from the demon. They learn to manage their demon. So when they call you and they want to cuss you out, they think, she ain't going to talk to me though. I ain't going to hear from her for like a month if I do this. So they start telling themselves, okay, you got to calm down before you call her. That's what I want. Get yourself in order before you call me. Get yourself straight before you call me. So they just walk around their house. I want to call and cuss her out so much, girl. Oh, I want to call and cuss her out. But I ain't going to do it. I ain't going to do it. Because, last time I cussed out, I ain't talked to her for like a month. And that's what I want them to take that conversation. I want them to think about that, because you can't cast the demon out that people want. So I want them to take on that. So now they're telling their demons no. See, if they say yes to their demons, and I have to suffer because of it, that's a problem. But if I force them, if I teach them how to tell their demons no, by saying, okay, basically, you choose between me and your demon. You get to keep your demon, but you can't let them manifest on me. You can't let them manifest on me. At the end of the day, if they call me up and they still acting crazy, I gotta go. What? You heard me? I gotta go. I'm gonna hang up the phone. I'm off that line right then and there. Why? Because I love my parents. That's love. That's me saying that's not okay. Get on the couch, my love. Up. But that's me saying that is not okay, and I'm enforcing that boundary. And also renounce everything that she said to you, cast it down, and pray for her healing. A lot of times people pray for folks' deliverance. That's great, but always pray for their healing as well. I'm 20 and met a woman who is 34-ish, and after a few convos, she called me her best friend. One day I missed her call, and she accused me of not supporting her achievements. What do I do now? Yeah, that kind of sounds like a Jezebel spirit. I can't make that call right now, but it just sounds like she, is wanting some level of control. Because first and foremost, you said after a few conversations, I've had that happen in almost 100% of the cases. When I've had a woman to call me her best friend, almost immediately she had a Jezebel. And I didn't find out till later on, but she had a Jezebel. And it was something about her wanting to control me. And so, yeah, you want to look into that. Definitely pray. And another characteristic or sign of a Jezebel spirit is they get mad when you don't answer their calls. Every time I've had those type of friends, there was some type of punishment for not answering their calls. It was some type of punishment. Like I said, one girl, she was just like, Negroes don't like to answer their phone. Folks be going through stuff. And it was just always something. And then we would end up having conversations about me not answering my phone. And I'm like, sis, my phone's on silent. Sis, I was on the phone. Sis, and I felt like, why am I having to explain myself to this female? And I realized that I'm gonna have to distance myself. And I first told her that it's not okay. That's my line of demarcation. I put a rule in place. I said that's not okay. If you call me and I don't answer, I'll call you back whenever I can. That's it. That's all. If it's an emergency, send me a text message. Or call me twice. I said, that's a rule in my life. If it's an emergency, if you call me 2 times, I know that's important. If I happen to be on the phone, I'll click over. I'll get the person off the phone. Now, if I click over and it ain't important, it's just you and your feelings, we're going to have you're going to really be your feelings dead. So you can't keep giving in. If she's calling you every day, that's a problem. Do y'all want to hear the truth? If some female or any person is calling you, now if you're dating, that's fine. A guy's going to call you up. But if you're a female and there's another female that's calling you every single day, and especially if she gets upset if you don't answer her call and she tries to punish you by not answering your call when you call her back, always commenting about the fact, chances are that's a demonic spirit. That's a person that's got a spirit in them, and it's a sign of your life. It's called a monitoring spirit. That's all that is. So you want to put some distance between you and that person. Hyper controlling, always having to control everything to the point of getting hostile. Yes, it can be a Jezebel spirit, or it can be a spirit of witchcraft and control. There is a spirit, spirits of witchcraft and control that it may be, but chances are it's a Jezebel spirit, or it could be a mixture of both. So as far as the lady said, I'm 20, I met a woman who's 34-ish, and after a few combos, she called me her best friend. Yeah, I can almost guarantee you dealing with Jezzy. Oh, Jezzy. I know that demon every time it manifests itself. And anytime I've had that, it's always turned out to be a problem if I didn't answer their calls. Always. One of the things that I had happen, I remember my ex's, he had a relative who had a real strong Jezebel spirit. And we were in Germany, and I had a Magic Jack phone line. Magic Jack phone line allows you, well, it did back then, you could plug it up in America, get an American phone number, and you can go all around the world with it. And as long as you plugged it into your computer, you could receive phone calls on a local line, so they didn't have to call long distance to call you. So I had a Magic Jack phone line, and it was plugged into my computer. My ex's sister was plugged into his computer, I think. But my ex's sister, well, I was saying his relative, but she used to call. She would call nonstop. And I remember, if you didn't answer her call, she would manifest. Oh gosh, she would get upset. She would get belligerent, and she would like, why did you answer my calls? And I found that that's really characteristic of that spirit. People who have that spirit don't like not being in control. And there was one particular day, and this is when I was living in Germany. I said to myself, from this point on, if I'm dealing with old Jazzy and Jazzy blowing up my line, I'm not answering the phone, because I'm going to teach them you ain't finna control me. People call me when they have their demons. I will mess with. I'll pick with their demons. I'll starve their demons. I separate the demon from the personality, from the person, and so I separate the soul from the spirit. And so I communicate with the person, but I don't deal with the spirit. I don't deal with the spirit unless they don't want me to, unless they don't want it anymore. For that most part, I've learned to communicate directly to the person and ignore the spirit. Unless it goes to acting up, then I'm going to bind it, call fire from heaven on it. I'm going to take it through some stuff until the person either decides, hey, I need some freedom, or they're going to get up and get away from me. What was the question again? What was it? Yeah, so they're going to either get up and get away from me. So the thing about it is, when you're dealing with a person like that, somebody who has a control spirit, somebody who has an issue, you have to have that line of demarcation. You have to have it, and you also have to consistently enforce it. I found when I was raising my stepson, when I consistently enforced rules, it became a law in the house, and he started becoming more stable. I've learned that you build governments and communities, healthy governments, by not only creating laws, but enforcing those laws. And I've learned that demons, they like to move in places where there is no order. And so, or there is no order being enforced. It's like, do it again. When you learn to enforce those laws. Happy birthday, Sister Sahil. But when you learn to enforce those laws consistently, people either walk away or what have you. So anytime I've dealt with that Jezebel spirit, in most cases, they got real mad for me. I mean, it was like, you're not allowed to not answer the call. You're not allowed. And it's like, you wake up, and I'm like, I tell people, I'm not going to deal with the anxiety of, oh my God, I'm not going to be that person. Oh my gosh, she called and I didn't answer. I'm so sorry. I'm not an Ahab. So I'm not going to deal with that. At the end of the day, if she called and I see she called, and I call her back and she says like, why didn't you answer your call? What do you need? I was calling you to talk about this, but why didn't you answer your call? What do you need? I'm not going to entertain that spirit. I only want to know what you want. I don't want to know. I'm not going to explain myself. I got to do a class on this, guys. I want to do a class on how to manage devilish people. Let me know if you guys would register for that if I did it. Of course, I would have to charge for it because I don't do free classes like that. But chances are, if I charge, it'd be like $9.99. If I did a class on how to manage devilish people, would you guys come? I want to teach you how to deal with Jezebels, people who got spirits in them, without losing your mind. Because you got to draw a boundary. And I found that a lot of people don't know how to manage it, because those people know how to control them, manipulate them, seduce them, and they just find themselves getting worn out. Because, people, it's just normal to deal with people who have spirits. I can have friends, and I love them, and I know they're bound. I know it. I see it on them. I can have friends, and they're not ready to be free yet. They're not ready to confront. I don't go to them and say, sis, you got a Jezebel spirit. I don't do that. You know what I do? Is I continue being their friend, but I separate them, because I understand we're dealing with two different entities. This is not That demonic personality is not them. So I deal with them. I don't deal with their spirit. I ignore that spirit. I deal with them. When that spirit manifests itself, I sit there, I speak to, I bind that devil, and I'll communicate with them, and I'll draw a line of demarcation with them and say, hey sis, you can't talk to me like that. That's not right. That's one thing I don't do. I don't do the whole control thing. I don't do the witchcraft and control. So you saying I'm a witch? I didn't say you're a witch. I'm saying that what you're operating in right now is called witchcraft and control. And sis, I love you, but that's a no for me. That right? It's not even an option with me. And so what I'm letting them know, if you want to continue being my friend, don't behave like that. Don't call me up screaming on the phone. Don't mishandle me, because I'm not going to tolerate that. And it teaches them I can't do that. So I've had people who go out of my life because I've drawn a line of demarcation. I've had people who stayed in my life. And this is what happens in those cases. When they stay in your life because they see the value of your life. They see, this is a really good person. I need what's on her life. When they see that and they sit still, I'm going to show y'all how this works. When they sit still, demons don't stop moving. The demon don't stop moving. And so they're forcing themselves and they're getting over themselves. And then they're just constantly. And so what I'm doing is I'm causing that demon to manifest. And then they'll finally call me. They say, sis, I think I need deliverance. And I'm like, let's go. Let's go. They said, sis, I think I need deliverance. Because, like I was mad at this person and I felt like cussing them out. I felt like I needed to control this. I felt like I needed that. And then I was even mad at you. And I'm like, that's all right. It's fine. Let's go. Let's do this deliverance right now. Or you can set them up. If you don't do deliverance, you can set them up for somebody who does deliverance. But whatever you do, don't submit to a demonic entity. You never submit to the spirit. You always separate the person from the spirit. You deal with the person. Hey sis, what's up? Girl, you looking pretty. Okay. Why is she wearing them pants like that? Sis, them pants a little bit tight. Girl, please. And I'm honest with my friends. So if I notice a friend got a Jezebel seduction spirit and there's a certain guy that she's going after, and I see her, I'll look and say, that man's not available, and you know that. Girl, I don't like him. Stop. Come on now. Come on. You stop acting like I'm not a female. Stop acting like I don't have discernment. I'm going to have a conversation with them, and a lot of times it causes them to open up. When they open up, what I'm doing is I'm uncovering that spirit. It's a science to it, guys. It's beautiful. I'm uncovering that spirit, but I'm also making them aware of it. But if they don't want to get free and they want to manifest in that crazy, sis, this is right now, this ain't happening no more. That right there, I will close the door on that friend. I love them, but I'm taking my distance from them, because one of the things I'm not going to do is go under the control of their spirits. Them demons, no. I'm like, hell should have told you. You ain't bringing me under the control of no demon. I'm sorry. I'm just not going. Not as a willing vessel. I'm not going. I don't want nobody in my life so bad that I'm willing to go under demonic control. I'm just not going to do it. And so you have to make that up in your mind. I ain't going. You got to have that attitude. I ain't going. Last question. Since I started taking my relationship with God serious, I feel so uncomfortable around my family. It's like I don't want to be around them anymore. What do you think about this? Pray on that. Sometimes it's just, that's the baby stage. A lot of times when you start building your relationship with God, your eyes begin to open and you begin to see crazy stuff that your family does. And then you start feeling like, well, I want to separate myself, because you think you're doing something right for God. But don't move in that stage. You just go and you be a light. And then also, you can say what's not right. Now, you don't go to a barbecue and say, this music is ungodly, because then it's religiousness. You don't want to go, if I don't want to go to a family reunion, for example, and I know they're going to be acting up and clowning, I'm just not going to go. But I'm not going to go and tell them, hey, yo, that's just the devil's music. I'm not going to go and do anything like that. But I went through that stage with my family where it was like, the more I learned about God, I already knew my family was crazy. I already knew they had issues. But the more I learned about God, I was like, y'all don't just have issues. Y'all got demons. And I was like, oh my God. Oh, I see it now. Then I went through that stage or what have you. But when I came out of that stage, I learned that I can talk, but it's just wisdom of when to be around. Like, if they say, oh, okay, your cousin, I'm gonna make up a name. Bessie May is having, I'm just saying some crazy old fashioned name. Bessie May having a barbecue for her birthday. I know Bessie may drink and she cuss. I'm not going. I show up at the party and drop a gift off, but but I got plans for that day. I'll intentionally make plans. I got plans. I'm gonna get up out of there. So I've learned to manage relationships with them without having to subject myself to the things that they're into. And then, they'll see my light, in the things that I do, not just my Facebook posts, but just, you girl, please, that MF this, and I'm just sitting there like, yeah, and I'm just like, yeah, but we just have to pray for people like that. And they just like, yeah, you right, she keep talking about praying. I don't know what happened to that child, but I'm letting my light shine. Don't feel uncomfortable around them. Just, learn to manage it. Don't go around every time. Like, if I'm not going to go and sit myself in a situation that I'm not comfortable with. Like, I'm not going to go to a party and they over there smoking and I'm feeling some type of weird. I'm not going. I've learned to use my introversion. I'm just not, I'm not going. I'm going to stay at home. Let me go to the next question. The sad thing is there are more Jezebels in the church than on the street corners. Where do you expect them to be? I think there are more on the street corner than there are in the church, but the ones that are in the church, we notice them because we're in the church. But if you were to go on the street corner, you will see the ones out there. So yeah, there are a lot of them in the church, but not everybody's a Jezebel. Not everybody's a Jezebel. Let me see. Thank you for all the birthday wishes, guys. I've lost. Okay, I see something. I don't know. Okay. Maybe I hadn't got down to that yet. Let me see. Okay, yeah. Here I was. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Oh, you're most welcome, Sister DD. The 34-year-old woman is kind of shy, so it didn't really look like the Jezebel spirit to me. Also, she deals with depression and family issues, so I felt bad. She gets upset, and I just want to block her, honest. You can block her. Here's the thing. When it comes to, I don't feel like she's my child. Oh, this is your daughter? Hold up. Oh, your friend. She would text people I knew asking about me if I didn't message her back or call. It was uncomfortable. Yeah, you can pull out of that. You try to help her to get some freedom, get her some videos on Jezebel's spirit, but then you can pull out of that. You don't have to stay there just because she acts shy. One of the most powerful, I'm not going to say the most powerful, one of the most effective Jezebels I've ever come in contact with was one who was passive and came off as really shy. And she was able, and I had to learn that Jezebel is not just dominant control. Because I used to think Jezebels were the women that says, Tiffany, put that down. You're coming with me. No, what do you mean no? And that's who I thought Jezebel was. I didn't know Jezebel was, hey sis, how are you? I didn't know that. And God told me he wanted me to write the book Jezebelian. But he told me in 2015. But he told me, I think it was 2015 when he told me about that book. 2014, 2015 when he told me. But he told me not yet. He just kept saying not yet. He wanted me to deal with it because I thought Jezebel was dominant control. But I had people in my life who had, someone in my life who had passive control. And so they would manipulate. And I end up feeling some type of way. You ever get off the phone with somebody, you feel guilty and you feel dirty? Chances are they got a spirit. You feel guilty. You feel like maybe I said too much. I wasn't planning to talk about that. What just happened here? You just got off the line with somebody who's bound by a spirit. So Jezebel, that spirit uses the personality that the person has. If they have a kind of meek personality, then Jezebel is not going to be so dominant and controlling in that particular person, in that particular body. Jezebel will manifest itself using passive control. Hey sis, how are you? Oh, that's so good. That's so good. What have you? Then they make unreasonable requests. It's just always something that doesn't make sense. And they do crazy stuff and what have you. And you're just like, what type of demon is this? It's Jezebel. It's Jezebel. It's just not manifesting itself the same way it did in Auntie Shirley. Auntie Shirley had a dominant personality as it was, and so it manifests itself in her as dominant control. But whenever you deal with the passive personality, it manifests itself as passive control, more so along the lines of sometimes sexual seduction or what have you. Sometimes it can manifest itself as, I just don't really want to live, I'm just really tired. So now the person's on suicide watch for the third time this week because they want all your attention. That demon is vying for all of your attention. So it's a lot when it comes to that spirit. Can it be a part of soul management? No, because this is a whole demonology thing. It would be a whole demonology thing. I would love to bring it into soul management, but it would be a whole demonology thing, and it would open up. I would have to do more classes and what have you. You say you have bipolar. That's just a split. I don't want to get into that, but bipolar is just a wounded soul. And so you have different personalities that deal with different areas of conflict in your life. So I would tell you definitely have to get deliverance and definitely want to get some counseling. You want to make sure that your soul is mended. You want to make sure that your soul becomes mended, and then you learn to deal with conflict. You learn to deal with different things. I've come across people, they deal with conflict in a horrible way. They're the sweetest people in the world. But conflict comes up, they're like, oh, and you just like, dang it, where the hell that come from? And they just start growling, and I'm just like, yeah. But yeah, you can, that's not something you have to live with. I just want to tell you that that's not something you have to live with and constantly claim. That's something that can be fixed. What are your opinions about getting in a relationship online? I have never met anyone at church. I always say, if you meet them online, it's a good idea. If it was maybe an innocent inbox conversation and maybe you chatted, but going on a dating site, I'm completely against that. My pastor met his wife online, and so that's the reason I'm not against it. But I will say, be careful, be mindful, be prayerful. Look, if they online instant messaging you, they probably instant message somebody else. Not in every case, because obviously I believe my pastors, they had theirs the right way, but there are cases where you want to be leery. So you can go to their page. I always say, look at their friends list. I've had guys that inbox me online, and when I look at their friends list, it's like, dang, all I see is females. Like, their friends list is 98% women, and that lets me know, no, this is a man whore. Who's just going about his business. I go look at their likes, and I can see on their likes there's a lot of stuff. Sometimes it's sexual. There's a little section on the side of your Facebook now that lets you know the people on your friends list, where they're commenting. It'll come up, and if I see that, I may click to see, and I see them on another female status, always like, hey, beautiful, or what have you. I check that kind of stuff, and when I'm looking, I'm just like, yeah, that's not for me. That's not for me. So do your research and just stay prayerful. Do your research and stay prayerful. I hate when this thing jumps down. Give me a second, guys. Okay, here we are. What about blocking family members on Facebook? I went live with a word today, and my cousin, who is in a believer, started asking doubtful questions. I used to be goth, and she is. I blocked her. Hey, yeah, you could, if you can block her from commenting, that's great. But yeah, I hate to say it, I have blocked family members myself. I done blocked a couple of family members because they were being disrespectful on my page. They felt like because you family, and I hate that spirit, that mentality, because you family, I get to do this, and I'm just like, I give a warning first. Stop, don't do that anymore. And then when they try it again, I'm just like, all right, blocked. Blocked. So I stop them from doing that. How do I share Christ in my workspace? Just demonstrate the love of God. You don't run in with a Bible, because sometimes that scares people, that intimidates people, and then they associate you with a Bible thumping preacher. Sometimes it's just a demonstration of love. Like what I used to do when I worked at AT&T, I used to carry candy in my purse, gum. I carried pads and tampons. I had a purse where I would have a lot of stuff in it, and stuff, I'm using it, but at the same time, Somebody walks up to me and they like, hey. And so it became known that Tiffany had gum. Tiffany had candy. It became known, and people would come around and ask me, and then I always made sure I was demonstrating the love of Christ. I was always really nice, what have you. I'm always trying to help people. When somebody talks about something negative, I'll encourage them. And that made them start drawing to me, because people are hungry for Christ. God said, if I be lifted up, I would draw all men unto me. They're hungry for Christ. And they started coming to me. And sometimes some people became to me ashamed because they didn't want nobody else to know they were looking for Christ. But they would catch me in the lounge and they'll say, hey, I really admire you. I admire this. And they would ask questions and I answer them. I would help them out. I say, here's my number. Give me a call. So you just demonstrate the love of God and carry some good things around in your bag. It opens the floor for conversation. Sometimes the devil, the way he keeps people from connecting with you, is he'll convince them that you're stuck up. He'll convince them that you don't like them. He'll convince them of something, and it's just a lie from the pit of hell. So I like to carry stuff around, because I've had women, I can hear them and they be like coming out the bathroom, and they like, I gotta go home, my cycle just came on. I said, I got some tampons and pads. Oh, thank you so much. I hear them talking to somebody else. I say, I got some tampons and pads. And they're just like, oh, girl, thank you. I remember one particular time, one girl was getting ready to go to lunch. And she was going on her break. And some of her friends were like, trying to get her to come to break with them. She was like, she couldn't. She said that her cycle had just came on. She needed to get home and get her some supplies. And I was like, I got tampons and pads. She said, sure. I handed her 4 tampons. And she was like, well, I ain't got to go home now. She said, let's go. And so that opens up the door for conversation and the floor for conversation. And so people will come to you and say, thank you so much. And then they start speaking from there. Then it starts to hugging. And then they start opening up to you. What have you. And then they'll tell you sometimes, I thought you were this way. I thought you were that way. So that's the best way to stir Christ in the Lord's space. Please pray for me to hear God's voice and directions like you did. Okay, we'll do. Now, to hear God's voice is just submitting. It's spending time with him every night. I spend time with him. When I get off of here, I'm going to spend time with him. I go into praise, worship, and prayer. Spending time with him, reading his word. And when he sees that you are pursuing him, he starts to pursue you. Now, he pursues us anyhow, but he begins to turn more and communicate with you. And then make sure you have a good church home and stuff like that. I was talking to a guy that I said I can't leave him because his pastor said for us to stay together. Oh, no. I went through all types of depression and ended up leaving him alone. Is that manipulation? Yes, ma'am. A friend of mine, she was going to a witchcraft church. I mean, she has, I would never say that about a church unless I know that for a fact. I'm really afraid to put my mouth on the body of Christ. We know this is a witchcraft church because they believed in a lot of stuff that were ungodly, that is ungodly. For example, they were teaching them that their dead loved ones could communicate with them and all this other stuff. It was not American. They're in America, but it wasn't American church or what have you. So they had a lot of ungodly beliefs. So long story short, they told her that a guy was her husband or what have you. So she got into a relationship with him, and they called themselves getting married. The guy turned out to be completely demonic. Completely took her through hell and high water. And that particular church would tell the members, like anytime they didn't do what they wanted to do, she told me, she said it was a common thing in that church. People were constantly leaving, but they were telling folks like, your wife is a witch. You need to separate yourself from your wife. Your wife is a witch. They were constantly doing that. So you don't go against the will of another person. My pastor, for example, would not say to me, Tiffany, that guy, you need to stay with him. He wouldn't say that. He would probably say that's a good guy. If I came across him, he's like a good guy. I think you should try to work that out. But he won't say for definite you need to stay with him, because then that becomes control. And so you said you were dealing with all types of depression and stuff like that. Yeah, you got out of there right in time. We just bless God. Because first and foremost, if God didn't say it to you, God probably didn't say it at all. So God's going to tell you what he's planning for your life before he tells somebody else. So don't fall into those type of traps. That's really common. Just keep moving. I've seen it happen. I've had it happen. I got weird stories from when I didn't have a church home and stuff like that. So yeah, be very careful. When a person is trying to convince you into more dominant sexual acts, this is a form of witchcraft and opening up for more demons. Are you saying you're already performing sexual acts, but they're trying to get more dominant with it? let me get some clarity. Give me some clarity before I get into that question. I want to get some clarity on that. I go to counseling, see a doctor. I believe I was born with it. Lots of trauma. I'm better than before. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, and it's possible that you were born with it. It's possible that because spirits are passed to the womb. A lot of spirits are passed to the womb. And so that's what I'm saying. You can get healed and you can get delivered from it. And so don't worry. If you want that freedom, you'll get it. If you want it, you have to get a level of desperation to get it, but you'll get it. Thank you for the birthday wishes. What do you think is behind someone attracting primarily narcissists as friends and love relationships? That was me before I got saved. Easy. The narcissistic personality is nothing but the secular term for Jezebel. It's a Jezebel personality, Jezebel spirit. So if you're constantly attracting Jezebels, chances are you had an Ahab spirit. The Ahab spirit is typically the one that attracts the Jezebel spirit constantly, or your prophet. Jezebels are attracted to prophets to break them down. But most of the time when people have constant encounters with Jezebel, chances are it is a narcissistic personality, that chances are they relinquish their control somewhere. Okay, give me a second, guys. I think that was the last question. Let me go through it real quick, make sure I haven't missed. I'm going to miss somebody's question, so that's probably a guarantee. Gosh, I'm sleepy. I'm sleepy and hungry. Let's see. Alright, so I'm moving through this real quick. Trying to see if there's anything I missed, but I'm probably still going to miss some, so. Alright, I'm going to probably set up the devilish class tonight. Not devilish class. Managing devilish people. I definitely want to do that class. I get that question every time I come on here. Somebody's dealing with a Jezebelic parent, Jezebelic boss, and yeah, they don't know how to manage the relationship. Oh yeah, so I know I was waiting on you. Said when a person is trying to convince you into more dominant sexual acts, is that a form of witchcraft and opening you up for more demons? So I'm going to answer it based on how it sounds. So when it comes to it, first and foremost, if you're not married, then you should not be having sex. If you're not married. Now, if you are married and the person is saying they want to do things like choke you out, they're perverted. You know, if they're wanting to get into stuff that's really twisted, it's because they themselves are perverted, and chances are they're demon bound. And so yeah, of course it does open you up, but you're opening yourself up by sleeping with the person. So if you're married and a man is bound, then chances are the wife going to be bound right along with him. So in a case like that, you can say no. You know, you don't have to give into crazy stuff. Even when you're married, you can say, sorry, I got cold up in here. But you can say, for example, that's off limits, bro. Just like you don't want nobody. Yeah, I'm sorry. We ain't going there. You can say no to certain things. If a person is dealing with perversion, then just understand that they need deliverance. And chances are, it's not going to be. And I don't like to say this to people, but it is the truth. Chances are they're not going to be faithful. Chances are they're not going to be faithful because they're burning. They're dealing with some stuff. Doesn't mean that they're a bad person, but they are burning, and they don't necessarily know how to deal with that lust. They don't know how to deal with it, and they're constantly trying to quench it. And you can't feel a void. A void is like I call it a black hole. No matter what you throw in it, it's just going to keep sucking in like a vacuum effect. It's going to keep on, and they keep trying. And so when it comes to sex, they feel like, and I was married to somebody like this, so I can speak on it, but they feel like, I think we need to do something. I don't know what it is. Like, I'm loving our sex life. Everything's great. But at the same time, I don't know what it is I need. I don't understand what it is I want. And so they're always like, let's go to the sex store. Let's go here. Let's go there. Then you get and I'm not gonna lie. When I was married the first time, I would end up in the sex store with them. trying to spice up things and stuff, and you just I'm sorry guys, it's the middle of the night, so I feel like I would be silly in the middle of the night. But you're in a sex store, like, what you say this was again? What you do with this again? Okay, you tase. Okay. You find yourself in there and it's never enough. You're throwing money down a black hole. It's never enough. So you're at home just like, so they said I'm not supposed to tase you in this area because I could kill you. Alright, here goes. And put that over there. You can't appease that. You can't appease that. So I can't really speak to it if I don't know, like, if it's a husband or not. If it's a husband, there's obviously going to be different advice than I would give you if it's a boyfriend. If it's a boyfriend, I just say stop having sex. Pull it out, take sex off the table, get yourself some healing, get yourself some deliverance. That's it, and that's all, and run for your life if it's a boyfriend. But if it's a husband, then we go into the whole managing the demon thing. How do I manage a person who has a sexual appetite that I can't appeal to? Like, no matter what I do, dude coming in and he's just like, he coming in and he's got something else, and you find yourself like this all the time. Do with this. You find yourself, it's a spirit. It's a spirit. Chances are when you see people like that, they are into porn. They're, like I said, they're not going to be faithful. It's going to be a whole lot of issues with them because they're trying to fill a void. They're trying to appease something. It's a demon-sized appetite. It has the appetite of hell, appetite of fire. There's nothing that you can do to quench that. There's nothing you can do to appease that. And so a lot of times they think that they can appease it through a bunch of ungodliness and going out there having relationships with other people or what have you, and they're constantly trying. So just pray for that person. If it's a boyfriend, run for your life. If it's a husband, then I think we need to arrange a conversation. So or you need to come to the class whenever I do have that managing devilish personalities class, so you learn how to deal in the devilish world. So guys, check the comment section probably in about the next 5 to 10 minutes. I think I am going to set the class up, and I will post it in the comment section in the next 5 to 10 minutes for you guys, so that you guys can register. I'll probably set it up for about 3 weeks from today, and I'll have limited seating. And the reason I have to do limited seating is because a lot of people have situations, and so I don't like to have a class really full. I will have to limit the seating probably to about 50 people. Yes, it was like nothing would ever satisfy him. He kept trying to convince me to do more and more, and it got darker. It was my eye opener to leave. Yes, and so the issue here, this is not a boy. If this is a boyfriend, the issue here is you. Let me tell you this, and I want y'all to hear me this truth, because this is what God taught me when I got married. This is what got me free. Don't focus on him. The message here was for you. The message here is God said, I see perversion in you. And so he allowed you to be with somebody that has perversion in them. And so when you see it, you see how twisted it is. You're like, this is really twisted. This is really nasty. But the perversion in you doesn't manifest like the perversion in them. Their perversion manifests as them coming in the house talking about some, babe, hear me out. I'm trying. I don't want to sound crazy. But can you choke me? Like right when I'm at the peak, I want you to choke me until my eyes roll in the back of my head and they go to, my blood vessels go to protruding and all that other stuff. Can you choke me out? And in a case like that, it's like, wait, what? You want me to do what? I just want to try it out. I just want to try it out. In a case like that, yeah, you're definitely dealing with somebody who's super bound. But removing yourself from the situation while it's good does not really completely help you the way God wants to help you. God wants you to turn away from sex before marriage. That's the lesson he wants. Because sex before marriage is perversion within itself. And so God will allow you to experience it. And hear me when I tell you this. The Bible says that when an unclean spirit goes out of a man, it goes through dry places looking for rest and finding none. It says, I will go back to the place from where I came. And it goes and it finds that place swept and in order. And it goes and takes 7 spirits more wicked than itself. And it says the last state of that man is now becomes worse than the first. So this is what happens. I've learned that demons don't always have to enter people. Sometimes what they do is they attach themselves. See, a lot of times they attach themselves. So what happens is you find yourself in a relationship with somebody who's perverted. They got a bunch of demons that are wicked. When you cast that person out of your life, when you deliver yourself and you break up with that person, if you don't break up with that demon, meaning you don't put your body on the altar as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service, what then happens is that spirit comes back in the form of somebody else. But this time it's got 7 more spirits more wicked than itself. So you end up with Tony fine. And so Tony comes up, but Tony crazy. You don't look it, but Tony good and crazy. And you don't know it because in the beginning he's just the sweetest, most loving man. Find yourself having a sexual relationship with him, everything seems to be good. It's like, wow, this is awesome. This is awesome. But then one day you're sitting there talking to Tony, your phone rings, and you decide not to answer it. Just my coworker, probably trying to change schedules with me. He always trying to call. Then Tony manifests on you. Now you're in danger. And you're trying to figure out what happened to my life. It's because God tried to warn you, but you didn't heed the warning. You saw the problem in the person, but you didn't see the message. You know, when God communicates with us, a lot of times we see people, but you need a mentor to help you to see the full picture. Because when you see people, guys, hear me, oftentimes you're seeing a reflection. If you're connected to those people, chances are you're seeing a reflection. But you don't identify the reflection because it don't look like you and they don't sound like you and they're not doing things the way you do. They're not doing their perversion the way that you do it. And it's a communication. God tried many times to communicate to me through the people connected with me. He tried many times. I'll give you guys this example, then I'll get ready to close. I had this friend. You know, the friend had passive control. I knew she had the Jezebel spirit. The Lord kept telling me that, but I just didn't want to believe it. And, you know, let me say this. It's okay to have friends who got demons as long as they want to be free. You know, because sometimes folks don't know they got demons. They picked it up in their childhood and stuff like that. But long story short, you know, that was my thing. Okay, she's just bound. She needs a little bit of help or what have you. Well, one of the things that she used to do to me was she would always, like, if I upset her, and you know, mind you, if I upset her, she wasn't the shut up or, you know, she didn't get aggressive. If I didn't do something she wanted me to do, I didn't say what she wanted me to say, she would, like, if I corrected her about something, which I really didn't do much of in the time I knew her, but if I corrected her about something, I said, hey sister, I don't like when you do that, don't do that, or what have you, she would say, I need to consecrate. And I'm like, what? Yeah, I just really need to spend some time with the Lord, so I'm not going to be talking on the phone for about a week. In other words, I'm not talking to you for the rest of this week because you rebuked me. How dare you? So long story short, I tolerated it. And the Bible talks about in Revelations, stop tolerating Jezebel. I tolerated it. I was like, I didn't put a line of demarcation up. I didn't do nothing. So one day the Lord decided to get with me because he wanted me to see that the same rules I had for men, I wouldn't tolerate that off a guy. I didn't have that for my female friends. So one particular day, this lady reached out to me and she said, hey, I got a daughter, a spiritual daughter that I would really like you to talk to. I want you to, you know, help her out because she got this guy in her life, and I do believe that they're supposed to be together. However, this guy, you know, he gets mad and he does this. I've already told her I was going to have this conversation with you and see if you were willing and available, and she's willing. I was like, yeah, sure, give him my number. So the girl calls me up on the phone and we start talking. And she says, yeah, so what he does is whenever he gets mad at me, he says he needs to consecrate. Now, I'm forgetting all about my little friend that does that. I completely forgot about her. So, you know, he gets mad at me, like if we have a conversation about something, he said, and I told her, I said, sweetie, that's control. I said, he's trying to have some level of control. It's not to say that he's not the right one for you. It's just to say it's not the season right now. He needs to get some healing. He needs to get some deliverance. This right here is demonic. I said, because if you keep pursuing this relationship and he puts a ring on your finger, you are marrying that spirit. You're not just marrying him, you are marrying that spirit. And what's going to end up happening while you're married to that spirit, he's going to keep on doing that to you. Every time he gets mad, he's going to leave the house. He's going to pack his clothes. He's going to say, I need a vacation away from you. That's punishment. I'm punishing you because you didn't do what I told you to do. I'm punishing you because you don't smell the way I wanted you to wear that Victoria's Secrets, but how dare you come up in here smelling like apples and oranges. How dare you? So there's a punishment when you're dealing with the narcissistic Jezebel. There is a punishment for that. And so I'm sitting there and I'm talking to her and I'm giving her that advice and I'm telling her, I'm saying, sis, he's not ready right now. He may be ready in the future. He may be the right man. But right now, you want to take your distance from him. Right now, you want to let him get the healing. You want to pray for him. You just let him know. Say, hey, I just don't think this is a good time right now. I really want you to work because I do believe you're the one. I want you to hear me when I say that. I do believe you're the one, but I think we both need some things to work out. This whole you punishing me. And I like to tell people what their demons are doing. Like, I don't sit up there and find a nice way to... Let's find a sweet little way. No, I said this whole punishment because I don't do what you say do, that's control. And I'm not down with that. I'm not down with that. And so that being said, I think that's something you need to examine, and I need to give you the space to examine it. And so I tell them just like that, and I will take my distance from that person. So I was talking to her, and then at the end of that, she was like, you're right. Thank you. She says the same thing God said to me. I was like, amen. So we got off the phone. And immediately, and the Lord brought that girl's name back up to me. And he said, now, why aren't you doing that with her? And I was like, oh, snaps. He's done that with me many, many, many times. He has communicated with me that way many, many, many times. Just to let me know, stop tolerating Jezebel. Stop tolerating Jezebel. So, yeah, there's going to be a punishment. There's going to be a punishment. Let me go ahead and move on. Pay through Western Union? I don't think so, because that's a whole other thing. But yeah, if you're in another country, we could try to set that up. But if you got CashApp or PayPal, that's great. If not, if you want to do Western Union, we can set that up. I'm trying to see. I think I had a point that I was trying to make, and then I kind of left it. Oh yeah, so point is, I want to tell you to my sister, you want to take the time out and just get the message. Take the time out to get the message. That way you don't have to constantly keep revisiting that. I found that every time I didn't get the message, I had to deal with that same demon again, and I would find myself right back in a dark place again. And I got to a point where I was like, I'm over it. I'm completely over it. It is officially my birthday. I am officially 42 years old. All right. Let's see. Are some sexual positions demonic? No, some sexual acts, I believe, are really okay. So, for example, if we can find a nice way to say this, for example, a lot of people like to use the scripture, the marriage bed undefiled, to justify doing certain things with their bodies, but the body was created for certain functions. Certain parts of your body has certain functions. So, for example, your rectum, your shooter, is not designed for penetration. It's not designed for that. And I believe a person who desires that, I think they're bound. They're either curious or they're bound. But certain sex positions, I can't think of a position that's demonic. I mean, there are books on sex that are demonic, but I can't think of a position that's demonic. Unless you're giving some type of homage to a god in the position, I don't think it's any position that's demonic. This is why porn exists. Well, yeah, not so much to teach demonic positions, but more so to teach demonic acts. So if you're married to somebody who's addicted to porn, I've been there before. It's not that they learn positions from it, because I don't think there's too many positions you can really do, honestly, with the human body. But I mean, there are positions, but it's not like this whole yeah, but there's not too much. Now, there is some level of perversion. There are some guys, for example, they'll twist you up to the point where you're in a whole lot of pain just to pleasure them, and that's not the will of God. So you're dealing with the sometimes a lot of times perversion and curiosity. But yeah, there are certain things, certain acts that you should be outlawed in your bedroom. One good thing, for example, is bringing a dildo into your bedroom. If you don't feel like you're adequate enough, we need to have a whole conversation and a half. And then, but as far as positions and stuff like that, I won't say positions are demonic. I would say, I mean, a demon can convince somebody to make sure you don't enjoy the experience. Now they're trying so, but they can become so self-centered that they don't care, and so you have you twisted up and you in pain while they sitting there. And in a case like that, you just say no. I mean, it's not. I think a lot of times we put a lot of emphasis on what the other person is trying to do to us, and we forget that we do have the ability to say no. You just say no. You know. Don't get so caught up if I say no, I'm going to lose him. If you lose him from saying no, now, you need to be married to this guy, of course, but if I lose a husband because I said no in the bedroom, I James 4:7 him. Submit yourself to God and resist the devil and he will flee from you. So obviously he needed deliverance and he fled. So I'm not going to trip on him leaving out hurt. It will hurt, but I'm not going to act up. Which ones? Is oral sex demonic? That's a whole other topic. That's a whole other topic. I'll say this. The way God designed the body is, this is a law he taught me. If it can't reproduce, it's illegal. If it can't reproduce, it's illegal. So you can't reproduce in your mouth, right? So if it can't, it's not, the body wasn't designed for that. So if it can't reproduce, it's illegal. And I'm going to tell you something, because in the body of Christ today, most believers are still into that. In the body of Christ today, it's really hard to convince somebody that, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. I don't think it's a sin, but the body wasn't designed, the body wasn't designed for that. And a lot of times you're messing around with perversion and what have you. But here's the thing: if a person decides they want to do that in their bedroom, I'm not going to say it's illegal, but it doesn't reproduce anything. So basically the only thing that comes out of it is pleasure. Of course you don't want to have a baby with every sexual encounter, but as far as when it comes to oral sex, it's just something that came out of the world and people are still into it. I do believe this with my whole heart. I'm convinced of this, and nobody can convince me otherwise. I believe that a God-submitted couple will have such amazing sex that a lot of the perversions of the world won't be needed in the bedroom. I believe that a lot of times when it's like we're trying to satisfy something, but we just don't know what it is. If you're in the bedroom and you're married and you've had this guy and he's had you, it's just like, what do we want to do now? You're in the middle of sex and you're just like, what do we want to do now? A lot of cases, that's just you're not content. There's still a void there. There's still something you're looking for in this encounter, not just a sexual encounter, but in the relationship that only God possesses. And so you stop in the middle of it, it's just like, what? do what? And y'all trying to figure stuff out. It's because you're always trying to go to the next level. You're always trying to go to a greater height. But I genuinely believe some of the men and women of old had some of the best sex because they understood the laws of the human mind. They understood how things work. They understood the power of unity. The best sex happens in unity, meaning my mind is on pleasing him. My mind ain't on me. If I'm married to a guy and my mind is on, I want him pleased, and his mind is on, I want her pleased. We're in unison. We're in unity. We don't need dildos. We don't need to slap or choke each other. We don't need anal or oral. We don't need none of that. The person who's having oral sex would say, I bet they got some boring sex over there. I bet they got some boring stuff. They wouldn't even know, because they over there faking it and all this other stuff. They over there going through something. Catch me with that female about herself one day, and we get on a sexual conversation. Both of us are married and we end up having a sexual. Catch me, and I guarantee you, she'll sit there and say, I'm not satisfied. You didn't want to do all this crazy stuff because you keep giving into it. the marriage bed is about coming together in unity. Is to my married sisters and to my soon-to-be married sisters. This is not for my single sisters. You shouldn't be in fornication. This is a warning to you. Don't be in fornication. But to my soon-to-be married sisters, my married sisters, if you are agreeing to do stuff that you don't agree with, you are sabotaging your sexual relationship with your husband. So what happens is you no longer desire him. And when you no longer desire him, your body dries up with every encounter. So your body, when you're in unison, your body says, I want him. I want it. I want him. I want him. I want him. Your body, you could be walking through the store and look at him like abandoned cart. He's like, what? Abandoned cart. He's like, you silly. I got your silly. We going home. I got your silly dude. We going home. For real. He's like, baby, I'm serious, baby. I love you. Abandoned cart. Your body starts talking and saying, I want this guy. But if he twisting you up and he got you in pain, and he sit in the store, he's like, baby, I want you tonight. I already got a headache. I don't want you touching me. Because this is about you and it hurts. It's uncomfortable. And you over there snoring like we had a good encounter. And I got to fake it and pretend. You over there snoring. I'm looking at you like, help me to maintain my respect, Lord. So, yeah, you want to make sure you come together in unity. And guess what? One of the ways to come together in unity when you're married is to learn how to say no. It's okay to say no to certain things. No. The guy's not going to get up and cheat on you because you said no. If he cheats because he was already a cheater. And so you can do 100 different things on him and it's still not going to keep him from cheating. I mean, that's just the way that works. But you can say, no, that's not my thing. You know, my ex said to me when I was married, the second time, he says, I don't believe in oral sex. I've never done it on a woman. I think that's disgusting. And I was like, that's perfectly fine. You know, now some women be like, oh my gosh, girl, please. You know that, you know why they need that? Because they've never had a man who genuinely loved them. So they've never had a true God, the way God designs sexual encounter. They've never had that in their lives. And because they've never had that, every sexual encounter they've had has been perverted, and it's been with a narcissistic personality who is all about gratifying himself. And the only reason he wanted to gratify her is to promote his ego, to boost up his ego. That was it, and that's all. And so, of course, the only thing they got, because when he's not satisfying himself, and so if he's going down, that's the one time where he's being selfless. So, of course, they're going to enjoy the encounter. And, of course, they're going to be like, that's the best thing ever. If that's the best thing, then they got a whack sex life. And I'm calling devils out. If that's the best thing, they got a whack sex life. So when you get married, ladies, listen to me. It's okay to say, yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't like that. It's okay for him to say something to you. If there's a position where he says, I want your legs behind your head, and you say that hurts, I want you in the upright, and that hurts, say no. Say no. He'll get over it. He's not going to go cheat because you said no on it. You're not saying no to sex. You just say no. And when you do that, you're causing the both of you to have a better sexual encounter, because a lot of people don't realize this. The height of the sexual encounter for the man is often relegated, and I don't know a better way to explain it, to the female. If her body responds the way that it's supposed to respond through lubrication, all that, he's going to have a heightened encounter. He's going to have a great encounter, which means that happy wife, happy life actually works in the bedroom, not outside, but it works in the bedroom. Because if the wife is happy, then dude going to have a good time. But if the wife is not happy in the bedroom, her body dries up and says, I don't want him. Her body, when the body dries up, is basically saying, dude, don't touch me. Either that, or it's just a certain time of the month. Dude, don't touch me. So then y'all got to look for lubrication. What we got up in there? We got Vaseline? Y'all forgive me. What we got up in there? Why? Because you're looking for external things to satisfy, and that's what ends up happening even in the relationship. He keeps looking externally for something. So you have to learn how to create a marriage bed or create a relationship that's outside of the beds that he's been in, the ones that you've been in, and y'all got to learn to come together in unison, in an agreement, and you find your own vibe, you find your own culture, you find your own language. And I can sit here and tell you without a shadow of doubt, y'all will have the best encounters of anybody. I'm talking to everybody else be walking around, man, yeah, my wife do this, and this. That's fine. That's fine. Because, yeah, you're getting gratification in the bedroom, all that, but you still haven't had a godly encounter in there. See, when you can go up in that bedroom and have an encounter that God only designed, when you cause the wolves in the woods around your house to start howling, then you had something. Other than that, y'all gonna constantly keep hitting each other in the head with dildos, right? I mean, y'all gonna constantly keep hitting each other in the head trying to find something and what have you. So don't do anything that you're uncomfortable with. Just say no, because if you do something that you're uncomfortable with, again, you're sabotaging your relationship, your marriage. You're sabotaging it because your body's going to say no. When your body says no, your mind's going to say no. Then you're going to find yourself, I sure hope he don't touch me tonight. I sure hope I done told this guy no for the last week. I know I can't keep telling him no, but I really don't want him to touch me. I don't know about you. I don't ever want to have a marriage where I'm laying next to a guy that I don't want to touch me. I want to be sitting up there like, grab his hand and be like, dude, wake up. Don't play with me. So let's go ahead and move on, guys. I see y'all done got back up into the questions. Let's see. Amen. Praise God. You got away from him. If a spouse cheat, is it okay to get married again? And there have been conversions on this subject. It's heavy petting close to sex, getting close to bodies, parts in the nude. Yes. People sometimes try to become legalistic when it comes to God. Like, they try to manipulate, like, all right, God, if we just brush up against each other, is it real sex? If we don't penetrate, if it's real sex. If you are sexually gratifying yourself in any type of way, it's sex, whether there's penetration or not. If dude go down on you, it's sex. If y'all rub up against each other's clothes, it's sex. You just didn't have full penetration, but it's still sex nonetheless. If it wasn't sex, then we can sit back and say these lesbian relationships where two women are getting together, well, they're not technically lesbians because neither one has a penis, so technically there is no penetration. It's just two people. Yeah, it's still sex. It's still sex no matter how we want to look at it. It's still sex. So let me get to if the spouse cheat, is it okay to get married again? Of course it is. If y'all divorced, you forgive him, you go through the process of healing, you let God choose your spouse, or you just submit that thing to God. You choose your spouse in wisdom, have some accountability. Of course you can get married again. There are people who are legalistic who don't believe that, and that's because they read their Bible and they're legalistic, and the devil is also legalistic. But heavy petting, yes, that is sex. It's not close to sex, it is sex. Anytime you're trying to gratify yourself in any way, it's still sex. If you masturbate, it's still sex. You're having sex with yourself. If you rub up against something for gratification, you're still having sex. You're having a sexual encounter. What about couples that masturbate to each other before sex? I heard someone say that that's okay. I don't believe this. When they masturbate for each other, yeah, it's anytime you're masturbating, that's not a good thing. But a lot of times people do that because the person is just that. Like I said, people try to satisfy something. People are trying to satisfy something. I was married to somebody for 7 years, and one of the things that I learned in that marriage was that there was just a whole lot of, okay, it's great, but what else can we do? Is that a hammer? You think your skull can take? No. Okay. Let's look into something else. So while masturbation outside of marriage is a sin, I do believe inside of marriage, I don't think it's a healthy thing. Of course, we don't have any biblical backing to sit back and say, just to gratify each other or what have you, if that's something the spouse is requesting. But I just don't Yeah, I don't believe that's a good thing. I don't believe that's a good thing. Again, a lot of times it's just a person is into some stuff because of something they seen on TV or something they encountered with somebody else, and so they're still reliving the perversion. And so a lot of times it's just like, baby, I want you to go there. Could you imagine as a female, you just sitting there saying, baby, I just don't want you to touch me. I just want you to play with yourself. How weird that is. But that's perversion. That's perversion. And so I'm sitting there getting, oh, yeah, that's perversion. Let's see. What about couples that masturbate to each other? We just said that. Are spirits transferred when you have sex? Yeah, of course. Do we call them sexually transmitted demons, STDs? It's not just a sexually transmitted disease, but there are sexually transmitted demons. Thank you. Some Christians are afraid to tackle these. Of course, it's taboo. It's a taboo subject in the church, but I believe that it is a conversation that needs to happen, which is why I like to have these conversations kind of late, not during the day. I mean, people during the day gonna listen to it, but yeah. I think I just saw a question. Yeah, that's the name I was looking for. Kama Sutra. Yeah, that is demonic. A lot of times they're summoning up spirits with that. How do you know if a spirit has gotten in you after sex? If you had sex outside of marriage, it's gotten there. I mean, it's just the way that it works. But spirits don't really, they don't have to get in. They'll attach themselves, and they have to move in through agreement. So let's say, for example, a spirit of heaviness and depression is going to have to move in. If you have, you're working to build your self-worth, it's going to have to tear it down in order for it to gain access. So it has to get in agreement with you. So it'll start whispering to you, you're nothing, you're fat, you're ugly, don't nobody want you. It'll start whispering to you. And so finally, when you come into agreement, then it moves in. But if you have sex with somebody, everything that's attached to them is now attached to you. If you have sex with somebody, every demon. I remember when I was going through a divorce, when I had became like my eyes were open. I had been married twice, and I had really surrendered my heart to God. You talk about the level of deliverance, the stuff like when the week we broke up, probably the first 2 weeks, or maybe even the first month. Man, I was having dreams galore. I was having some of the most vivid dreams that I've ever had in my life. Like I could feel my emotions in those dreams. I could feel fear. I was having some of the most vivid dreams. What was that? Stuff that was attached to him that, was trying to strengthen itself in my life or what have you. So God was giving me dreams as well to let me know that I was free. I was having dreams about freedom, but yeah, what's in a person is going to be yours as soon as you have sex with them. And I think God tries to convey that point by allowing people to catch sexually transmitted diseases. I think that's the message he's trying to say, is say whatever's in them is now yours. Yeah, so no, you gotta wait, baby. You gotta kind of discern with him whether he really wants to go outside or if he's just trying to get your attention. I think right now he just wants my attention. Yeah. What's wrong? Yep, this is an attention thing. He's turned his butt to me like he's like, I trust you. When a dog turns his butt to you, that's actually a sign of trust. He's saying, I trust you. All right, so I saw one more question come up. Well, no, a couple more. I'm just gonna do these. How do you get over your fetishes? Stop giving in to them. You have to starve them out. You have to starve out premarital sex, fornication. You have to starve them out. That means you don't, like, you can be laying in a bed and you don't give into it. Submit yourself to God and resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Get counseling, get deliverance, learn, get knowledge, get understanding, but don't give into it. Don't give into it, because when a demon is not getting fed and you fall out of agreement with it, it has no place. So then you cause yourself to go through deliverance. You don't always have to go through deliverance with somebody saying, manifest and go. Come up out of her. You manifest. Come out through the mouth now. Jesus, in Jesus' name. Out. It doesn't always have to be like that. Sometimes you can go through deliverance by denying a spirit consistently and make it up. You have to make it a law. It can't just be something I'm trying. It's a law. I'm not giving in to sex. It's a law in my life. I'm not fornicating. It's a law. And so because of that, the spirits of fornication, every spirit attached to fornication has no right to me, has no access to me, because it's a law. I'm not having sex outside of marriage. It's a law. So you want to make a law. I'm not giving into this. I'm not giving into that. Let's see. Here's one. What do you think people are searching for, like the whole they feel they are missing when they are sinning sexually? They're trying to fill a void. Is it a relationship with God, acceptance, intimacy? They're trying to fill a void. They're using people as bandages. People are hurt and people have voids, and people feel like, if I have this, I'll be happy. Everybody's on the pursuit of happiness. Everybody's in a pursuit of feeling content. And when they don't feel that, they feel like, I need to attach myself to a person. I need to do this and I need to do that. And if I do that, I'll be satisfied. And so they get into a relationship and they realize, well, this guy has every quality I feel like I need. However, I just don't think he's going to stick around. So then it becomes, I have to give an offering. I have to give him something as an incentive to stick around. And so they give the guy their body. They give him sex. Then there's something in there for them because they get to feel loved in the heat of sex. You get a moment where you get a chance where you feel, if it's intimate, you feel like love, like it's an expression or whatever. So they start feeling like, well, he loves me, and they convince themselves and stuff like that. So they become addicted to that feeling. So they keep on going into the bedroom hoping to fill a God-sized void in their heart. So yeah, they're just trying to fill a void. This is off topic, but very important to me. My grandmother died in October, and I cry often thinking about her. I wonder if she is in hell. Stop thinking about that. Stop thinking about that. My mother passed away in October. My mother passed away, and I have done a large part of my grieving, or what have you, but at the same time, I don't think the grieving process fully completes itself. I've heard that when it comes to a parent or somebody like that. As far as where my mom is gone, I know my mom's in heaven. I don't question it. So if your grandmother was saved, she's in heaven. If she wasn't saved, don't assume, because maybe she was. Maybe you just didn't know she was saved. You cannot preoccupy your mind with that. You will run yourself crazy, and you will make yourself angry with God as well. So don't preoccupy your mind with where she is. I've often thought about where my mom, is. The enemy will try to convince you that she's not with God. As a matter of fact, I ended up having a crazy dream. I'm not going to detail the dream because I haven't shared that dream with anybody. I think I shared it with one person, and that was a friend of mine. But I haven't shared that dream with anybody. But the enemy was trying to give me this idea that my mother was not with God. But one of the things he did not count on is the fact that God has given me the gift of dream interpretation. So I was able to read into the dream. I was able to see what God was saying, because even in a demonic dream, you can pull the revelation out of it. So I was able to look at that dream and say, my mama with God. You told on yourself in this dream. You told on yourself, my mama is with God. But one of the things that I did before my mom's passing, I think this is important for anybody who has a sick relative or ailing parent or anything like that, is you have to start forgiving yourself in advance before their death. Because I started just talking to myself and saying, I forgive you in advance. You've done everything you can, and while you're gonna always think of things that you feel like you could have done more of, God knew when she was gonna come. I had to tell myself that, because I didn't want to get to a place where I stayed in grieving, where I would just stay and beat myself up year after year after year. I've had times where I've sat back and thought to myself, if you had done this, like when they gave your mom those chemo pills, if you had to put more pressure on her to take them, maybe she would have been here. Maybe if you had to put more pressure on her to get rid of that doctor, because you've been telling her to get rid of that doctor, but she just wouldn't listen. You told her to take the chemo, but she wouldn't listen. If you had done this, she still would have been here. If when she was in town, if you didn't have an attitude, a lot of times when she needed to go down for her appointments, she would have still been here. But I used to get frustrated, like when she would have all of her appointments together at the at her doctor's office, and then she would allow them to divide it up because they trying to accommodate somebody else. And that's what I told her. I said, Mom, somebody else is calling and saying, hey, we need the 12 o'clock. And so now they splitting up your stuff, and they call and ask for permission. They call you and say, hi, can we? And so I got to drive 40 minutes, and you got an appointment that was supposed to be from 8 to 10 or 8 to 11, 3 appointments back to back. And now you got 8 to 9, but you're supposed to be back at 1, then come back at 1, then we got to come back at 4. I can't do all that. That's too much. And I started telling her, let me handle it. But I had to tell myself, Tiff, this is not your fault. This is not your fault. That's important for you to have that conversation with yourself. Because if not, the devil will torment the crap out of you. Because I know, anytime if I go into a place of, oh man, I miss my mom, and I go thinking about her, the enemy will show up immediately and start trying to tell me, oh yeah, you just messed up. You can't be really trusted. Like you can't. He will come and he'll start talking immediately. And I bind him. I say, Satan, go get behind me in the name of Jesus. And because I had that conversation with myself in advance, because I sat back in advance and said to myself, Tiffany, I forgive you, and I told myself, you've done your best, I don't allow those type of things to stick. Give me a second. I have dreams about hell and demons touch me in terrible dreams. You probably just need deliverance, sis. Just need deliverance. Don't worry about it. Is being attracted to older men bad? No, but there may be a reason behind it. So you want to trace the thing back to his reason. What is the reason that you're attracted to him? Is your father in your life? If your father's not in your life, it could be that you're looking for your dad and you're trying to exchange your body in exchange for a dad, or you're trying to get a husband and a dad all in one. And then in a case like that, that would be perversion. So you'll end up having a twisted, perverted relationship with an older guy. So trace it. And for a lot of y'all, arrange a one-on-one conference with me. I would love to kind of just go into history with you to find out where these things are coming from. Because sometimes, not saying that's the case, but sometimes it can be traced. If you take the time out, it can be traced. I physically feel the touch during my sleep, like half asleep, half awake. Yeah, you just need deliverances. In my dream about her, she told me not to worry about her and that she was dead and that she's free. Yeah, that's not her. That's not her. That's a familiar spirit. She never spoke about heaven or hell. She thought about death just being a part of life. Oh my God, I'm really sorry for your grandmother. It's really sad. I think the only thing to help deal with grief would be to cry it out, but do not dwell in sadness, because it will open the door for depression. Alright, what do animals represent in dreams? I had a dream where my room was dirty, full of clothes, and over the mess I could see a skunk camouflaging. However, I could see it right through the clothes. The dream was not so much about the skunk as it was about the condition of the room. The room represents a part of your soul. So that represents a part of your soul being out of order, disarray. It is opening it up for something that shouldn't be there. Maybe a demonic spirit. The skunk could represent a spirit. But because that place is in disarray, you have that issue that has manifested itself. And so you want to find out what part of your life is in disarray, what part of your soul is in disarray. It could be unforgiveness, could it be an unresolved issue, something that you keep sweeping under the rug. You want to look for things like that. Could it mean anything? Yeah, what do you mean that wasn't her? It's a familiar spirit. When your parent, grandparent, or any person leaves the earth, the Bible says to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. Anytime a familiar spirit likes to come into a dream, it likes to dress in the identity of a person. So it will come camouflage as a person. The Bible says Satan does camouflage or disguise himself as an angel of light. Devils do that in dreams as well. So if you have a dream about a relative and that person is dead, it is a familiar spirit that chances are was in that particular relative. And so it's manifesting itself, and it will say nice things and good things so that you can trust it. because when you trust it, you can open up your life for it. So that's not her. That's a spirit that came, and that spirit's trying to gain some level of access and some level of trust with you. But it wasn't her. Like I said, I had a dream about my mother, but that wasn't her. I had a dream about what looked like my mother. I'll say that, but it wasn't her. And it was an evil dream, but it wasn't her. It wasn't her. It was just the enemy. The enemy upset with, okay, she's intentional in this grieving process. Like, I've been really intentional, prayerful, and the enemy, was like, listen, I'm gonna try to tell her this so I can get her back in the grieving process and get her upset with God. And it's just like, no, I prayed on that thing. I bound that spirit up or what have you, and yeah, I prayed on it. So it's a familiar spirit. It's a familiar spirit. When you talk about exchanging your body for a father figure and a husband, can that relate to other situations? Like what? People are always exchanging their body for something. People need bills to need paid, and women go out there and exchange her body for a boyfriend because he can afford to pay the bills. Is still a level of prostitution. Alright, look like we're about to close, guys. Anyhow, we're going to have a slumber party on tomorrow night. I hope I didn't out-talk my slumber party tonight. I am sleepy. In a dream, I didn't see her. We were talking on the phone. I didn't know why spirits are attracted to me. Since I was a child, I've seen spirit. Well, chances are somebody in your family played with witchcraft. People in your family were bound. I mean, most of us have dealt with that. So this is the way that witchcraft looks. This is the way that witchcraft works. Yeah, exchange your time with other relationships for other things. Yeah, but this is the way that witchcraft works. People don't understand how they wake up and, like, you see an issue plaguing a family, like mental illness and stuff like that. Typically, what happens? Okay. Oh, let me get this. I'm so sleepy. I'm sleepy. Sleepy. Let me see if I can get this. Let me give you guys just a picture. Like I said, God a lot of times speaks to me in pictures. I see pictures in my head. I just see pictures. Alright. And I'm not going to draw anything nice or pretty, but I just want to show you guys a depiction of generations. I'll deal with that in a minute, Sister Didi. Okay, I'm going to give you a picture. I'm so sleepy. I gotta get... Oh, God, I'm sleepy. Alright. Alright. Okay, I want to show you guys how many of you are dealing with generational spirits. Alright, all of these represent, see if I can get this in. All of these represent your lineage. So this is you, your mom, your grandma, your great-grandma, your great-great-grandma, your great-great-great-grandma, your great-great-great-great-grandma, your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandma, and so on down. So, at some point, let's just say, for example, this particular grandparent, this one here in your ancestral line, she decided to play with witchcraft because granddaddy was cheating on her back then. Granddaddy was going with that little husband. It was during the time of slavery. She was stressed out and she didn't have information. She didn't know how to deal with the hurt. And she was afraid of losing her husband. She was afraid of being returned to slavery. She was afraid of a lot of things. And so somebody came to her and said, to keep that man, bury his drawers, or keep that man, do this or do that. So she decided she was going to do that. She got some crazy witchcraft advice, and so she decided that she wanted to keep granddaddy, over the will of God. Great granddaddy. So she went and she started doing all this stuff. She's putting stuff in his food. She's doing all these little witch things. Now in her mind, she doesn't know because she lacks education. She doesn't know what witchcraft is. She doesn't know. She just thinks that she's actually fighting a demon or witchcraft in him. Because in the olden times, people used to say, like if the man was cheating on his wife, and the man got so bad where he went to beating on his wife or what have you, and he kept leaving home, they would say that woman got roots on him. She got roots on him. She got some type of spell on him. So she starts playing with witchcraft. She starts doing all kinds of southern witchcraft, Louisiana witchcraft. She starts playing with witchcraft. So she goes and she does something. What she doesn't realize is that is now in her soul has just taken the shape of a witch. Because remember, we talked about the soul being fluid, and I think I talked about that in class, but it's fluid. It's going to take the shape of whatever condition you're in. So her soul takes the shape of a witch. So let's just say her soul, well, because of perversion, her soul is shaped like this initially. But now to get into witchcraft, her soul takes a different shape. So when she reproduces, she can only reproduce what she is. So she's going to reproduce somebody who has witchcraft in them. She's going to reproduce somebody who has a demonic spirit in them. That person is prone to witchcraft. That person is prone to hearing spirits. That person is prone to seeing demons. That person is going to be prone to it. So they're going to be attracted to witchcraft movies, anything with power. They're going to be attracted to that kind of stuff. So this person's soul is shaping in iniquity. They got the shape of a witch. Now, there's a price that's attached to witchcraft, because in witchcraft, this is a little demonology 101, but when in witchcraft, just like you have contracts with a loan officer, you're actually in witchcraft getting a loan from a demon. And so there's fine print on every contractual agreement. And most of the time in witchcraft, the contract involves taking, most of the time it's a boy. It's perverting the females, twisting up the guys, using them for crime and stuff like that, and then killing off so many boys. Most of the time when, they go to a witch, the witch is not going to tell them that. Now that demon may tell that witch that, but the witch is not going to tell them that. So, which hand is this? Okay. She gives birth to this twisted person. She gets married, same thing happens. It repeats itself. She gets married, her husband cheats on her. She starts panicking or what have you. Her mother comes tell her, hey, all you got to do is put this in his stew and do this and do that. So she goes and does that, all that stuff. And then now she's starting to take even more of the shape of a witch. And so she starts learning more stuff because she's hearing from other people in her generation about different things that they can do. Now, she gives birth to great-great-great-grandma. Great-great-great-grandma's soul is shaped like, is really twisted. Now, these are just, this is just how God shows it to me. Her soul, now she's really shaped like a witch, a high-ranking witch. Now, right here, she's got a Jezebel. She's dominant. She's controlling. She's manipulative. She's seductive. As a matter of fact, her husband, your great-great-granddaddy, she took him from his wife. She took him and she's been controlling him ever since. She's been castrating him ever since. That man sit in the corner and rock himself to sleep. And so she got somebody under her control. She's controlling her family. And so her soul is just jacked up. So now she gives birth to your great-great-grandma. And her soul is so now they're starting to take more of the form of Satan. I just want to help you to understand that. So in every generation, every time somebody doesn't get over it, and when they feed into the witchcraft, the children take this shape, and the demons, they can feel the demonic spirits. They can sense the spirit. They can sense a presence in the room. They can wake up. And a lot of times, people used to convince folks like, well, you are gifted. Like you can feel the dead around you. It's not the dead. It's not dead people. Those are demons. You can feel the dead around you. So they justify allowing people to be demonically bound by telling them they can feel the dead. And so here comes grandma. Grandma comes into the earth. She twisted up. She's sick. She controls your mom. Now she's already got her soul. Now grandma's soul is shaped like, what have you. These are just crazy examples, but I just want you guys to get the picture. Now she has your mom. When she has your mom, she duplicates herself. what's in your dad and your mom. She duplicates this. Now, when she's tearing your mom down, she's actually reshaping her soul. You stupid, you crazy, you this, you that, you that. She's taking more of the shape of Satan. You this, you that, you this, you that, you this. And so your mom ends up mentally and physically and spiritually out of whack. Or what have you. So, the mom decides, tired of people not listening to me. I'm tired of people not doing what I tell them to do. She goes out and she decides she's going to play with witchcraft. You see how that works? And so now she ends up in an insane asylum. She ends up, because now the demons are in full control. They having a blast over here with your family. Now they're religious. They go to church, but they're not really saved. They're not really submitted. Demons are having a blast with her. Now you come out. And this is when you come into the picture. You come out. And now you seeing stuff. Said, who are you? Now you're having dreams and all, and you're feeling, you're not crazy, you're bound. And so what has to happen is you have to go through deliverance. Deliverance is we're going to renounce the altars, going to repent for the sins of our ancestors and the sins of our grandparents, the sins of our parents. We're going to go through a process of tearing down those altars. We're going to rip up some demonic contracts. We're going to go through a process of getting that stuff out of your life. As we begin to do that, demons are going to find different things to hold on to. Unforgiveness, if it's in you, I can try to take you through deliverance all day long. We ain't going nowhere. They're going to try to find something to hold on to. Some type of thing to hold on to. This is generational. A lot of times it's just generational. It takes somebody in the family. Let me pull this back up so I can see myself. It takes somebody in the family. It takes you, for example. Nobody did it. You're going to have kids. I don't want my kids to be shaped like witches. I don't want my kids to be in that type of shape. I don't want their mind to be messed up. So you have to decide, I'm getting delivered. So when I give birth, I'm giving birth to a whole soul. I'm giving birth to somebody who's not twisted up and conformed. I'm giving birth, so I'm going to let God take me through a process. Here's what the average single woman makes a mistake. They twist it up, but they saying, God send me a husband, I'm abstinent. God, mama's a Jezebel, daddy is an Ahab, everybody in the family crazy, and they ain't went through no level of deliverance, yet and still they're saying, send me a husband. And they're not going to church, they're not submitted in church, but yet and still they're saying, God, I'll treat him right, I promise I will. And God's looking at that twist, he's like, you can't. It's not that you over here, you're underestimating your issue. You're underestimating it. You can't treat him right. Look at the shape you're in. You twisted up. You're perverted. You're messed up. Dude, if I send him, you're gonna twist him and you're gonna break him. So I'm not releasing the devil's sons. I will have to send my son, and I'm not sending my son into that. I'm not sending my son into that. So that's what that looks like. Let's see. Look like we. But yeah, you would just have to go through some deliverance. You have to renounce that stuff, fall out of agreement with it. You got to stop thinking that those are your dead kin folks, because as long as you think that, you will entertain spirits. Every time you be like, no, that was my uncle for real. And it's like, no. My mom, she came to my house one time, and this is probably about a few months before she died. My mom came into town. She sat back and she came to me one day. She was like, I saw your uncle last night. I was like, what uncle? Because nobody been in my house. I was like, what uncle? She was like, yeah, she mentioned my uncle. She's like, my uncle's dead. She said, well, I didn't see him. I sensed him in the room with me. And I was like, Mom, that wasn't uncle. And she was like, yeah, no, it wasn't him. I felt him. I know. I was like, Mom, that wasn't him. That was a demon. And she was talking, and while she was talking, I got up, I walked into that room, and I said, every unclean spirit in this atmosphere, I take authority over you now. You get up and go out of my house. Go to the feet of Jesus, in Jesus' name. My mom was like, no, it wasn't my uncle. After my mom passed, I had this girl to come over that was doing my hair. Not my normal braider, but I had another braider to come over and was doing my hair. And she was doing my hair, and I told her that my mom had just passed. And she was like, I knew I felt something in here. I knew I felt something. And I was like, you feel something? And she was like, your mom, I feel her presence right now. I said, I bind that demon in the name of Jesus. That is not my mother. And I didn't say it that way, but I said, Oh no, that's not my mom. I said, every demon in this atmosphere, every unclean spirit, every familiar spirit, I bind you in hot fetters. You go now to the feet of Jesus. And the girl was looking like, I said, sweetie, that wasn't my mom. If you feel anything, that's not my mom. Now, chances are that thing wasn't in my house. It was in her. And so it was trying to manifest itself as an angel of light. It was trying to pretend to be my mother. But it wasn't my mom. I said, I bind that demon in the name of Jesus. And I told her, I said, that baby, that was my mom. Oh, what have you. So what is it doing? It's trying to use an emotional time when I'm sensitive. So I can say, mommy? Mommy. And then if I start talking to it, get this. It'll know stuff about my mom. It'll know stuff about me. It'll know stuff. And then I'll be sitting there like, oh my God. And then I'll be calling relatives and be like, I just talked to mama. It's not my mom. My mom is present with the Lord. She's not here in the earth realm anymore. So, yeah, y'all don't give into things that manifest in your dreams or in your home. Bind it. Listen, the best way to test it, and it'll always prove to be true, 100%, say the blood of Jesus and watch your thing manifest. Watch it run out. So having intercourse and having heavy petting is the same, just to get clarity. Intercourse and outer course, because one of the things you're doing is you're trying to find a justification. There is intercourse, well, not you, I'm sorry, but there are a lot of people try to find a justification. There's intercourse and there's outer course, but they're still both sex. There's intercourse and there's outer course, but they're still both sex. If the goal is to have sexual gratification, if the goal is to have an orgasm, if the goal is to please myself in that region, it's still sex. Doesn't matter what I do. Doesn't matter if I go and I hump the the gas pedal on the car. It's still sex. It's perverted and it's twisted, but it's still sex. So yes, having intercourse and heavy petting is the same. It's intercourse is when it goes in. Outer course is what lesbians do. Or what two people do, a man and a woman, when they brushing up against each other, where they wearing their jeans. It's still sex. It's outer course, but they're still engaging in sexual activity. No matter how you cut it, it's still sex. When I was 14, I had a friend that was in tarot cards. I didn't know then she probably was a witch, but I know now she was. She knew too much about it. Definitely. I think she touched my love life. Nah, you just need deliverance. That's all. God's not going to put you in a relationship as long as your soul is out of shape. So, all right. Praise God. Yeah, I'm hosting a business class now. You guys make sure you be registering for these things. Thank you. If you want to go to church and want to get a husband, if you want to get a church, you want to get a husband if you're not in church. Huh? If you want to go to church, you want to get a husband if you're not in church. What does that mean? I don't understand the question. So if I masturbated before I knew Christ and purify myself now, would it be lying to say I'm a virgin? No, if you want to get technical, is usually about the breaking of the hymen. So you're talking about intercourse. You're talking about, did he enter the female? So masturbation, you will probably want to be, I don't think you have to be honest with that. But if you never had penetration, then you are technically a virgin. But you still know sex. You've had sex, but you just haven't had. You had outer course, but you haven't had intercourse. You've had outer course, but you haven't had intercourse. So you have some sexual experience, but it's just not the right kind. I'm going to try to read this question again, and I'm going to close. If you want, go to church. You won't get a husband if you're not in church. Yeah, it was a spirit. That wasn't a person. It wasn't a disembodied person. That's a spirit. That's an unclean spirit. You get deliverance, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to manifest. You get deliverance, it will manifest. All right, I'm gonna get ready to close out. So Sister Didi, I really don't understand the question. So anyhow, if you guys haven't heard, if you weren't on here earlier, this is the news that I wanted to share. I wasn't planning for this to be so long tonight. So make sure you go to Amazon or go to BryanMeadows.com and get this book. I was honored to co-author a book with my apostle called Honor Intelligence, and I am actually just blessed for this. So make sure you go there, get your copy of it. It's an ebook, over 100 pages. There's an Honor Intelligence test at the end of it. It's going to really bless your life. So I love y'all. I'll type in the information again. For those of you, I'm having a slumber party on tomorrow. The information should be in the information section. For those of you who want to sow a seed, if you asked a question and you got blessed, please take the time out to sow a seed. I want to teach you guys how to honor a message. So I want to thank you. It is officially my birthday now. I can't even believe it. So I'm typing this in. If you were blessed, be sure to sow a seed. Yeah, make my birthday a great one. All right, I love y'all, and I'm going to talk to you. For those of you who registered for the slumber party, I will talk to you on tomorrow. All right, bye-bye.